Please be seated. Good afternoon. Just before we took the luncheon adjournment, the honourable member from Georgetown South had just completed her speech. Does any other member wish to speak? The honourable member from Georgetown West.
Yesterday evening by a member. Mr. Speaker, the member from Bordentown East, during his contribution, he mentioned that he was somewhere and some tourists came up to him and spoke to him and they were so happy to hear his accent. He said he won't change and his accent won't change. Well, I just want to tell him that that's how you're supposed to be. Just be what you are. You were elected. Be who you were before you were elected. Don't change your accent. Don't change anything. Just continue as you are. I just want to say that I've known the member from time he was a young boy. And I grew up with his family. On his father's family on Shedden Road, and I know his mother's family very close. His aunt Ronnie worked with my mother for many years. I'll be mentioning it again, but I'm a very proud member of the PPM, and I have not seen one PPM or progressive member who has been elected that has changed after they have been elected. And that's one of the reasons. Mr. Speaker, just for you as an example, you've been through everything, the premier, you were knighted. It's only one other person that's been elected that has achieved what you did and get knighted, Sir Alden McLaughlin. That was Sir Vassal Johnson, your speaker. You're still the same person from time, and you're amongst us common people all the time, nearly every day. So you won't change. So I'm just asking everybody, no matter who you are, don't fake. Just be who you are. Thank you, member from Bordentown East. Don't change, and don't change your accent. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, as I said, it is easier to destroy a country than rebuild it. And in my view, Cayman was 2.5 years on its way to destruction, and I have the deepest sympathy for whoever will be charged with trying to rebuild Cayman. That starts with the current premier, but more importantly, the government that will be elected in May 2025, and they will have a tough job on their hands. Mr. Speaker, we are here to serve the people of the Cayman Islands and do what is best for Cayman. and not to enrich ourselves, especially at the cost of the Cayman Islands and the Cayman people. Every 2 years, the ruling government is supposed to work together to produce a budget in the best interest of Cayman. This is to ensure that the government can continue to function and operate effectively, including paying the bills and meeting its obligations. It is not meant as a means for each minister to boost their own projects and to try and make sure that they get re-elected. Mr. Speaker, I just want to touch on the budget policy statement delivered by the Honorable Premier on Friday, where she stated, and I'll just quote from it, it's on page 69 of her budget policy statement. Mr. Speaker, I make this appeal today to all my colleagues in this honorable House. Let us never forget our solemn oath and our duties as members of Parliament to serve as trustees for our people. We have been blessed beyond measure to be able to enjoy a level of prosperity our forefathers could never have imagined. That means we have to be good stewards of these financial resources and ensure that every penny, every project, every effort or initiative, and yes, every piece of legislation is for the benefit and betterment of the Caymanian people. More importantly, it should be beneficial to future generations so that our descendants will reap the rewards of our foresight. She went on to say on page 70, Mr. Speaker, it should be our collective prayer that the Cayman Islands will always be ever bound in community and served by caring governments who put our people first. I want to thank the Premier for that. Mr. Speaker, I do not think there is anything more that I can add to what my colleagues on the opposition have and will, well, they've all done now, contributed. They have made a very clear presentation of the work the opposition has done in dissecting and understanding the proposed budget. But I will make a few comments on a couple subjects and concerns. Mr. Speaker, I have grown up all my life with sports being a major part of my life. And it saddens me to see and hear the state that sports is in Cayman right now. I have always been involved in some way with most sports in Cayman. And the sports that I have not personally been involved in, I have followed them and know a lot of people involved. That includes the fastest growing and newest sport in Cayman, pickleball. Mr. Speaker, there is hardly a day that goes by that I don't talk with someone who is either playing, watching, or otherwise involved in local sport that does not have some kind of complaint. The sad part is that most of the complaints have criticized the former Minister for Sports, not only for a lack of attention paid to their sport, but some complaints have been made about victimization of persons who are actually involved in trying to make sports better in the Cayman Islands. I have felt it too. Mr. Speaker, I only want what is best for Cayman and the Cayman people. And I have never been someone who strives for recognition or publicity. And I am definitely not someone who is full of self-praise. And therefore, it really bothers me when I see someone who does things only for recognition and publicity, no matter who gets hurt. Always remember that character is easier kept than recovered. I only hope that the new Minister for Sports will put confidence back into all sporting bodies and that attention will be paid to the running and administration of sports and not on how many trips can be taken abroad. Mr. Speaker, I just want to go into a few highlights of young sport athletes that we need to encourage and give them reason for wanting to continue to participate in their respective sports. I'm just going to run off a few names because it's such a long list. I don't want to go into too much detail of what they do, but we have in swimming, we have Gillian and Jordan Crooks, always making Cayman proud. Sierra Broadbelt, Leela Higo, Harper Barrowman, Lev Fahey, Will Sellers, James Allison. These swimmers will continue to make Cayman proud. And then we have the track and field athletes, Devontae Howell winning the 100 meter at the Carifta Games in April this year. Anthony Chin Jr. winning the bronze medal, the long jump under 17. And we also have names coming up. Jaden Reed. This is a pretty long list, so I just want to read the names off because we were all proud of them. Jaden Reed, Alex Gordon, Andrew Stone, Ty Goddard, Delora Johnson, Michaela Brown, Jamie Dean Stewart, Devon Wright, Crystal Campbell, Jalea Mays, Arian Wright, Aliana Anderson, Jamar Ellis, Michael Michelin, Raquel Pascal, Renia Smith, Brianna Smith, Ashanti Graham, Yaneli Dawkins, Alejandro Barrett, Amelia Marriott, Nicosa Dickens, Alfia Smith, DeAndre Dick Beckford, Michael David Smichael. All these people, they will continue to make Cayman proud. But we just have to encourage them. In golf, we always have Aaron Jarvis. Then we have Justin Hastings and Holly McLean. There are 9 focus sports that the government have been continuing to focus on. And we need to ensure that they get as much help and attention as is necessary to put Cayman back on the map where sports is concerned. Those sports are football, cricket, tennis, rugby, netball, volleyball, squash, basketball, and softball. And I just want to say that I have every confidence in the new minister. I know that he will be putting every effort in to continue to do what is good for sports in Cayman. And if he ever wants a little advice, no, well, not advice, but if he wants to ask me anything, unlike the former sports minister, I'm available always. Mr. Speaker, I stand here as a very proud and honored member of Parliament for the past 6.5 years. I pride myself on being a very loyal person in all aspects of my life. I first voted in 1980, and in the run-up to the 1984 elections, I supported and campaigned for Dr. Honorable Linford Pearson. From then, I always supported who ran on his platform, especially the Honorable Norman Bodden and the Honorable D. Kurt Tibbetts. This continued for 18 years until 2001, and I joined the PPM in 2002 and remain a loyal and proud member. I have been a part of all the PPM have stood for and accomplished over this time. But my loyalties does not stop at politics. And in most things in my life, I remain loyal, be it sports, occupation, or friends and family. I just want to give a few examples and then go on to what I'm saying. Mr. Speaker, my grandfather, Oscar Stanley White, was selected to represent the West Indies cricket team on the 1930-31 tour of Australia. I had 2 granduncles, Vibert and Leslie White, who also represented the West Indies cricket team. I'm a Caribbean man, so I think that makes me obligated to support the West Indies cricket team, even though at times it is very frustrating And sometimes I wish I was not the loyal person I am. And AG, he would know that too. Through the ups and downs, I've remained a loyal supporter. Mr. Speaker, my life is Cayman, so I will always support Cayman in everything, not only in sports. I will always be loyal to Cayman. Just to mention a couple more, I have suffered for years as an Arsenal and Dolphin supporter, but I remain loyal. And again, I have used sports as an example for my loyalty. But I use this to point out my loyalty for the progressives, and I remain convinced the progressives are the best way forward for Cayman. Mr. Speaker, the best leaders have a high consideration factor. They really care about their people, and this is why I proudly and loyally remain a member of the progressives. The progressives work together for the people, and Mr. Speaker, a culture is strong when people work with each other, for each other, and a culture is weak when people work against each other for themselves. I have experienced the strong and weak through my involvement in sports, especially team sports. In my opinion, I think over the last 2.5 years, we have seen the problems caused by a weak culture where members do not work together, but rather against each other. And again, I just have to congratulate the Premier on doing something that we, a couple of weeks ago, thought was going to be impossible, and that is produce a budget for the Cayman people and get it here on time. As I said earlier, Mr. Speaker, I have been involved in politics for over 40 years, and I have visited Parliament very often and listened to members through the years, and I have been impressed and learned from many great MPs. But, Mr. Speaker, I am sad to say that I have been embarrassed and disappointed by a few, and I would like to say, arrogance is the most insidious disease of the heart, and the effects are reflected in the behavior and conduct of the sick person, and time and circumstances can humble even the mightiest. The greatest tragedy of all this is that a time and desperation and emergency reveals leadership. And for 2.5 years, we have seen leadership that was lacking of character, lacking of honesty, lacking of common sense, lacking of unity, in fact, lacking of any basic sense that there could be any sign of love for our beloved Cayman Islands. And when you see that being displayed, it is indeed heartbreaking and very sad. And I know I'm going on about it, but I know it's going to be a different government with the Premier as the Premier compared to what was for the last 2.5 years.
Member for Georgetown West, I think you should leave that there.
Yeah, I'm just going on now. Okay. Yeah. I was just going to talk about how, well, no, better not. Okay. No, I just have been disappointed that what road we were going down, but as I said, and then I had wanted to go on and mention, but I'll leave that, about my Uncle Roy and what he's done for Cayman, and that I don't want to be standing up here as a member of government that could have been part of a government that saw Cayman destroyed 60 years later after all he did. Mr. Speaker, in saying all that, I want to let it be known that I am truly humbled to have been elected in 2017 and re-elected in 2021 by the great constituents of Georgetown West, and I deeply thank them, and I will continue to do my best not to let them down. But I also want to thank persons like you, Mr. Speaker, and the Honorable D. Kurt Tibbetts, and the member from Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, who approached Chris and I in 2017 and encouraged one of us to put our name forward as a candidate for the constituency of Georgetown West, where we grew up and worked the majority of our lives. After we decided I would be the one to put my name forward and I was proudly elected, I made a promise. I planned to leave Cayman better off than I found it when I was elected. One of your favorite sayings, Mr. Speaker, is, "You may love Cayman as much as I do, but I promise you, you do not love Cayman more than I do." And that is why, okay. Mr. Speaker, I am praying for the new Premier and the government. I hope that they can work together and put all the differences behind them and continue to do what is good for Cayman. Well, see now, we best not to go on here. But I'll just say, never assume that loud is strong and quiet is weak. It is the lion's silence that signals danger, not his roar. Mr. Speaker, I just want to finish off saying that even though we will be going into Finance Committee and we will be digging in a little deeper and I trust we won't be voting for everything, or we'll have our concerns. I will be voting for the proposed budget. And I just want to wish all the Cayman a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, especially the constituents of Georgetown West. I would like to wish you, Mr. Speaker, the Premier, and all members of Parliament, and all the staff of Parliament, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sorry that I upset you, Mr. Premier, but thank you. Mr. Speaker, well, yeah, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
No, honourable member for Georgetown West, you don't upset me at all, but my job is to try to moderate some of the more strident things that get said in here.
Okay, thank you.
Does any other member wish to speak? Does any other member? The Minister for Infrastructure and many other subjects.
And her support for our government and the people of the Cayman Islands. I commend our Premier, Honourable Juliana O'Connor-Conley, Deputy Premier Andre Ebanks, and my colleagues for their dedication and leadership. As we reach this midway point, it's a moment for reflection and strategic planning. Our current position is a result of significant achievements driven by resilience and dedication to the Cayman Islands. As part of this budget address, it is vital to review the journey, celebrate the milestones, and outline the future aspirations that this budget aims to achieve. Mr. Speaker, let me begin with the Department of Agriculture. Over the past 2 years, we have made significant progress, including the recent passing of the Plant Protection 2023 Act. These achievements set stage for even more remarkable results in the years ahead. One of the most crucial factors in improving the people's well-being is ensuring that safe, nutritious food is accessible and available and affordable. This is why the Ministry has been leading various strategic policies, programs, and projects to strengthen the Cayman Islands' food and nutrition security. We are working towards a vision of making the Cayman Islands a food and nutrition secure nation. We have identified the factors that pose threats to our food supply and have developed a comprehensive measures to address them. A robust legislation agenda is in place to benefit our agriculture sector and strengthen our food security. There are 5 separate pieces of legislations at various stages of development. One is the Animal Act, the Pesticide Control Act, the Plant Protection Act that was recently passed, the Veterinarian Act, and the Agriculture Act. These laws will update and enhance our legal framework, ensuring a vibrant agriculture sector in the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, while some enhancement require legislation, others can be made as a policy improvement. Over the last 2 years, the Ministry has undertaken several such improvements. The Cayman Islands Food Nutrition Security Policy provides a broad framework for strengthening our food supply and an action plan. To translate the framework into concrete results. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to acknowledge at the heart of these efforts is the Agriculture Lead Action Plan. L standing for Land Use, License for Agriculture Purpose, and Legislative Agenda. Marks a significant stride in enhancing agriculture production, offering farmers structure and organized land parcels for cultivating the development of the Cayman Islands. Agriculture land use lease policy by the Ministry is designed to help make large tracts of arable crown land available for farmers to grow agricultural produce, raise livestock, poultry, among others. Under this pillar, the agriculture leads, the Ministry will provide the land use license for farmers under the Cayman Islands Agriculture Land Use License Policy. Recently approved policy, aided by the extensive stakeholders, participation will provide license for a period not greater than 2 years to farmers to increase the agriculture production. Where, when I just say 2 years, it will automatically, every 2 years, you would have to re-sign over your agreement with the farmland. The first site will be developed at the High Rock Agro Park. Works have begun on this project with the Ministry of District Administration and Lands surveying the property to establish the lots and identifying the boundaries for the road construction. The Department of Agriculture and the National Roads Authority have commenced the construction of the road. The policy is another initiative developed to help ensure that our land supporters increase the local production of the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, achieving the food nutrition security requires more than just prioritizing domestic land use for agriculture. We must also do more to support and grow for its existing domestic poultry and livestock industry. This is where the expansion is vital. E, standing for the expansion of the agriculture sector. Under this banner, the ministry is targeting the poultry sector and livestock sector. To this end, a national egg strategy was crafted aiming to foster growth in the egg production sector, improve market access, increase the market share of local egg producers by 40% in 4 years, and develop a food and safety quality standards for the egg production. A poultry expert was recruited to lead the implementation of this strategy through experienced leadership and technical support. We have delivered the Cayman Islands poultry standards for layer operations. Mr. Speaker, this is the first of its kind of our sectors, of any of our sectors. This is to certify that all local egg producers and to provide assurance to the purchasers and the confidence of the local consumers that this food safety quality standards for layer operations was released in November. Mr. Speaker, the expansion continues with the establishment of the development of National Livestock Development Program. This 5-year program will improve the local livestock genetics and the herd quality, increasing our livestock population and become more food security in meat production. To jumpstart the initiative, the ministry has provided a total of $350,000 to the Cayman Islands Agriculture Society to procure livestock. Mr. Speaker, the ministry has successfully imported 22 Jamaica Red Pole cattle to start a cattle breeding program. The cattle breeding program is a key element of the livestock development program designed to enhance the cattle genetics in this country, providing calves for sale, artificial insemination, and serve as a center of excellence in cattle research, continuing the modernization of the sector and increasing the technical support to cattle farmers. We have also constructed a cattle breeding center in Cayman Brac, and with the successful importation of the animals from Jamaica, the program to reintroduce the stud bull service is underway with the skilling of 2 vet services staff for the Brac. Mr. Speaker, we will continue training and development of the Department of Agriculture Veterinarian Services and increase the provisions of resources to the unit. Mr. Speaker, the A in lead is the agri-business development, nurturing growth, fostering economic development, and ensuring sustainability in the agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, a successful agriculture program is an important component of our security. Therefore, we believe it is important to incentivize young Caymanians to undertake agriculture initiatives and develop the skills and experience needed for vibrant agriculture sector. So we will set aside 25% of our lands allocated in the agri-park I have mentioned before to our youth and women. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, further development for our technologies and infrastructure through innovation plays an integral role in the success of agriculture program. The Agriculture Lead Initiative D is the development of agriculture innovations and technologies and infrastructure. The ministry has led the development of the Cayman Islands Agriculture Business Information Center. Partnering with the Hazard Management of the Cayman Islands comprehensive database system drives the collection of the agriculture and marketing information. It includes an identification and tracking system for the livestock. We believe that the critical information will help our policy development and budget building, and enabling a data-driven decision making, our ability to provide grant support for other farming community, especially after disasters. As a priority under this system, the ministry completed the agriculture census that registering almost 1,000 farmers, 2.5 times the number of farmers previously on record. Mr. Speaker, our commitment to quality data collection is evident in both our farmers' identification and registration program and our national livestock identification and tracking system. Enhancing the farmers' identification system improves deliveries to benefit for commercial produce and subsidized by the Cayman Islands government after conducting consultations to inform farmers and stakeholders about policy changes. The FIRP is now in operation with ID and registrations in progress. Regarding the livestock, under the program, we have successfully tagged 80% of all animals. As the member of this Honorable House, we believe that our farmers are a critical part of our community. They also face unique risks from the impact of hurricanes, tropical storms, and because of the special role they play in the Cayman Islands, the government is quick to support them during those times of needs. The Department of Agriculture, along with the Ministry, provides immediate support in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Grace, responding to an aid in the quick recovery of the agriculture sector. The government allocated $3 million in support, providing a supplemental income to cover labor costs and purchase of agriculture inputs necessary for the farmers to recover the loss and damage. And I thank the former Minister of Finance for his full support in that program, along with my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, in moving agriculture towards innovation, the ministry has obtained hydroponics flex farms capable of producing 394 pounds of vegetable annually. These farms were distributed to our schools, beacon farms, and the Department of Agriculture. These hydroponic systems are the first of its kind in the region, and with funding provided by the Sony Foundation. We are thankful for the Sony Foundation as its partnerships augment the National School Garden Program. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry has issued 5 grants totaling $7,000 to 4 schools under the National School Garden Program. A total of $30,000 has been set aside for the program in this year's budget cycle. We will be promoting this program to increase exposure to agriculture and the benefits that can be derived from the sector. I stand before you today to share a pivotal update that marks a significant stride in realizing the goals outlined in the Cayman Islands Food and Nutrition Security Policy. Mr. Speaker, Island Shipment has committed to this cause in facilitating a bi-weekly shipping options to Grand Cayman. Our efforts extend to fortifying food, nutrition, and security as we seek to deliver the Cayman Islands Food and Nutrition Security Policy over the next 15 years. This document will guide the development of modernization of the agriculture sector in the Cayman Islands with a strong focus on sustainability and food. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, this initiative is a testament to the collaborative governance. The ministry sought invaluable inputs, recommendations, and advice from several key entities, including the Port Authority, Customs and Border Control, Cayman Islands Department of Cayman Islands Agriculture, and the Legal Department. The engagement has been instrumental in aligning the project with the regulatory and operational standards of our nation, ensuring the dependable food supply is fundamental for the welfare of the Cayman people. Mr. Speaker, the health and well-being of the Caymanians demand not just affordable food to their tables, but also affordable roofs over their heads. Access to affordable housing is a global crisis, and it is a challenge we confront in the Cayman Islands as well. Currently, Caymanians struggle to secure affordable housing. The ministry is fully committed to advancing a policy that expands the access to affordable homes for our fellow Caymanians, ensuring their security and comfort. The ministry is developing such a policy to be inclusive and comprehensive that we receive approvals to seek consultative services, and I have procured the expertise to develop the Cayman Islands public and affordable housing policy and a 10-year strategic plan. The initial consultation, a critical step in this journey, began in November 14. To ensure direct communication and engagement, I sent out email, letters, and to every member of this Honorable House, November the 2nd and the 3rd, strongly encouraging your active participation in these consultations. We must put aside any political difference and prioritize and work together in the best interest of the people of our beloved Cayman Islands. Your input and contribution are invaluable as we start shaping a strategic plan that aims to enhance public and affordable housing across this country. As many in this Honorable House well know, the focal point of the government's efforts to develop more affordable housing is the National Housing Development Trust. Given the significant events of recent years, which profoundly impacted our economic and housing landscape, it is comprehensive reassessment of the National Housing Development Trust is crucial. This will not only sharpen its focus, it will also firmly establish its authority to meet its mission. The ministry has proposed to establish a new modernized homeownership mortgage empowerment that aims to assist first-time Caymanians, homeowners, who can qualify for a home mortgage but do not yet have the necessary financing to meet their bank's requirement. The program, while in the working stages, is designed for Caymanians purchasing developed property to use as their primary home anywhere within the Cayman Islands, with options for financing up to 100% from any financial institution participating in the program. Amounts up to $600,000 at the lowest possible fixed interest rate, and the terms up to 40 years. Mr. Speaker, this is what helping people is all about. These are long-term policy solutions. I want to stress the honorable members of this House that the ministry has already taken the concrete actions to expand and supply affordable housing for Caymanians. Mr. Speaker, the National Housing Development Trust has built 11 homes in 2022, 52 in 2023, and we are committed to complete 110 in the next budget cycle. Confirmation that this government is committed to solving this house's crisis in the Cayman. Now, Mr. Speaker, if we can ever get out of this Parliament, I have been reliably informed I can deliver the keys to 8 homes for the Christmas right now. Mr. Speaker, one thing I like to say is let the work speak for itself. Mr. Speaker, no other administration has delivered the amount of homes that we have done. Mr. Speaker, if you want to deliver success, you need to get up and come to work and deliver to get it delivered. It is particularly crucial to provide members of this House with a deeper understanding of the ongoing National Housing Development Trust project as it relates to each of the districts. It is important that all members are truly informed about these significant developments. Mr. Speaker, West Bay Lighthouse Garden, I am pleased to report, after breaking ground in March this year with Phase 3, the construction of the 19 affordable houses, and you heard me mention earlier that 8 keys I am delivering for the Christmas. The remaining 11 will be delivered in the New Year's gifts. Mr. Speaker, what better way to celebrate Christmas and start the new year than in a brand new home? Mr. Speaker, honorable members, you heard me mention earlier 110 homes are committed for the next budget cycle. Let me share those numbers by district. That is 59 in West Bay, 32 in East End, and 19 in North Side. That is 110 homes to be completed in the next budget cycle. We are in the looks of trying to find more land in the Bordentown area to be able to build more homes in Bordentown also. Minister Wilkes, I know Apple Blossom is very dear to you, and it has been pushed aside for far too long. I want you to know that you have a minister who stands before you today and who is committed to building out the 59 homes in your constituency in West Bay. I will repeat it again. Minister Wilkes, I know Apple Blossom is very dear to you and has been pushed aside for far too long. And I want you to know that you have a minister who stands before you today who is committed to building out the 59 homes in your constituency of West Bay. Groundbreaking is set for January the 24th, which I know you will be happy to join me. Mr. Speaker, the ministry has tasked the National Housing Development with undertaking the capital project developed in Georgetown, Eastern Avenue, better known as Honeysuckle Site, with a multi-complex, multi-story design to cater to the much-needed demand for the residents of Georgetown. Mr. Speaker, the initial draft design could facilitate 81 dwelling units. It is noted that the National Housing Development Trust will be seeking the design and proposals to tailor the demand of the people of Georgetown. Mr. Speaker, the Northside Mango Tango property, the National Housing Development Trust has acquired a 14-acre property in Northside near some of us will be able to follow me, but in Hutland Road in Northside. A potential for further development, a subdivision designed for 64 single dwelling units has been submitted for consideration by Planning Department. Mr. Speaker, access to affordable housing is very important to the UPM government. Mr. Speaker, I have tasked the NHDT not only to build homes, but to also do home repairs as you yourself may already know. We've had a few conversations with some of your colleagues, and there are people that need repairs. And Mr. Speaker, I want to task the NHDT to not only do home repairs, not only build homes, but also do subdivisions with affordable lots to bring down the high rise in costs when it comes to land. Mr. Speaker, and honorable members of this House, affordable housing is part of the fabric of our community and the infrastructure of our country. As I noted at the beginning of my remarks, another top priority of this government and the ministry I lead is building a modern infrastructure to ensure a successful future for our islands. Housing is one element of that infrastructure, road is the other. Mr. Speaker, the state of our road impacts every one of us in this beautiful country. Safe and effective roads also support our tourism sector, as visitors will judge their experience on the ease of which they get around the island. Again, the ministry, along with the National Roads Authority, has made good progress for those who call Cayman home. One of our key strategic goals as the ministry is to improve the traffic management and the road networks through immediate long-term road connectivity. Projects that we are delivering on. First, we are developing a road network that will service our communities well in the future. We have advanced projects such as the Airport Connector Road and the widening of Linford Pearson Highway just in the weeks. Mr. Speaker, we opened the brand new Bobby Thompson roundabout. Mr. Speaker, I know all members of this House will be familiar with our initiative to reduce the commute times with the East-West Arterial. Mr. Speaker, it is not only about reducing commute times. It is about redundancy by providing alternative routes from east to west. And, Mr. Speaker, the government is committed to completing the East-West Arterial expansion. Mr. Speaker, this government is fully committed to continuing to improve the road infrastructure of our islands and doing so in a sustainable way. The project is about improving the quality of life for the people of the eastern districts. I'm sure all members have heard the stories of lives disrupted because of the daily traffic challenges from the eastern districts, getting children to school or people to jobs on time for their commutes. I hear about it all the time. Actually, I live in it every morning and every afternoon too. Mr. Speaker, it is considered that transportation is the best practice to have at least two ways in and out of a city. Yet presently, there's only one road that runs along the coast, putting it at risk from hurricane and flooding. Mr. Speaker, to compound the matters, that single option does not have the capacity for today's Cayman. Mr. Speaker, the people deserve better, and we can and must do something to improve the situation of our fellow Caymanians. At the same time, we have a unique environmental heritage that we must preserve and protect for the future of our islands. There are ways to achieve both objectives. We are not the first jurisdiction to face these challenges. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud to say we have the expertise to analyze our requirements and make informed recommendations for how to expand the transportation network while mitigating the impacts to the environment. Mr. Speaker, a full environmental impact assessment for the East-West Arterial commenced in June of this year. This environmental impact assessment is being conducted by the world-class experts. From this study, we expect to inform recommendations for how best to design the arterial extension that limits the environmental impact in keeping with our Sustainable Development Plan. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to updating members of this House as the process goes forward. Mr. Speaker, at the end of the build-out, we intend to have a multi-lane arterial highway that can accommodate all modes of traffic, from pedestrian and cyclists to single and high occupancy vehicles. We expect that this will encourage carpooling and greater use of public transport altogether. Mr. Speaker, our daily commute should become more enjoyable. Progress on the East-West Arterial Environmental Impact Assessment is just one of several significant accomplishments by the National Roads Authority over the previous 2 years. I'm proud to share some highlights of the work they have done to build a modern infrastructure for all. Mr. Speaker, as the Minister responsible, but before I go on to that, I just want to go into where we had the Deputy Leader of Opposition, Mr. Hugh. Mr. Speaker, I'm not quoting exactly from him. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the opportunity. Let me go back to where party started here first. Looking at projects they promised for the 2 years ago that would be delivered, Mr. Speaker. Using the latest information from the third quarter of this year, road surface upgrades of $3 million budgeted. For 2023, the spend rate was for the first 9 months of the year only going at around 2/3 that would be necessary to deliver the promise of the programs of the improvement. Well, Mr. Speaker, as of the end of November, the Ministry and the NRA has expended a total of $3.347 million out of an allocation budget of $3.627. This leaves a balance approximately of $280,000 to be utilized in December. It is important to note that while the initial budget for the appropriation was set at $3 million, an additional $627,000 was responsible and carried forward from 2022 fiscal year into the 2023. This adjustment brought the total budget for that year to $3,627,000. It also went on to say that minor district works should total of $5 million in 2023, but as of 30th of September, only $125,000 was spent. Initially, the ministry was allocated a budget of $500,000 for the works. In addition to this, we had the foresight to carry forward an amount of $21,835 from the 22 fiscal year into the 23. A prudent financial management has resulted in a total budget of $521 for the current year. As for the expenditures of the minor district works, I wish to inform the House that these works are active, ongoing, and the finance team is diligently working to table the exact figures and expenditures. While I am unable to provide the amount spent at this very moment, I can confidently state that a significant portion of this allocation funds has been utilized effectively in these projects. I assure the House that detailed reports on expenditures will be made available as soon as the finance team completed throughout their commitment to not only utilize the funds efficiently, but also maintain transparency in reporting the expenditures. Mr. Speaker, I just want to let the member know that his numbers was off. So whoever his sources were, he would get the numbers from, he need to get a new person. I think they misleading him. Mr. Speaker, as the minister responsible for planning, it will not surprise you to learn that I place great value on developing and executing strong plans. That's why I believe the completion of the National Roads Authority Strategic Operation Plan for 22 and 2024 is a significant milestone. This plan prioritizes and focuses on investment to create the most impactful results of our road infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, many of those results are well known to the members of this Honourable House. In particular, the Hurley-Merrin Boulevard was widened to 6 lanes, now supporting drivers between Grand Harbour Roundabout and Selkirk Drive. Another meaningful infrastructure project in the process is the section 1 of the Airport Connector Road, which will provide a direct line between Esterly Tibbetts Highway and Lincoln Drive and Sparky Drive. And if we can come out of this house early enough, we will be able to go out there for the first time, opening that road this week, or maybe next week. Mr. Speaker, next I will share what the National Roads Authority expects to action over the next 12 months. By the end of 2023, we expected to complete the 4-lane expansion going down the Rex Crichton Boulevard between Point Dexter Roundabout and the Hearst Road, which we have started. The Crew Road will be expanded to include a 3rd eastbound lane from the CUC Roundabout to Grand Harbour. Also, by the end of this year, hopefully, to complete the Kings Connector Road adjacent to Kings Sports Centre that directly links Edgewater Way to Crew Road at the CUC Roundabout. Mr. Speaker, I just want to, Speaker, achieving this will depend on addressing a lot of the utilities issues that we have with our utilities company and the water companies and some land clean settlements. But I look forward to providing more updates on this project in the months ahead. If this sounds like an aggressive and major roadwork enhancement that we have planned, our road network is the backbone of our economy and directly impacts the quality of life for all. That's why we are pressing ahead urgently with these improvements. Mr. Speaker, my responsibility as Minister is to serve the entire country and the interests of the Caymanians. My duty as a member of this Honourable House is to ensure that the government fairly serves those I represent and my constituency of Northside. I would like to update you on some significant road improvements in the Northside and East End area. These upgrades reflect our commitment to enhancing the infrastructure and safety in these communities. Roads in the Cayman area receive the hot mix asphalt to improve the surface condition, which enhance the driving experience and also limits wear and tear on vehicles. Mr. Speaker, those that ride bicycles like yourself also have a smooth road to ride on. Updates were made to the Old Man Bay parking lot, which will expect additional We will inspect additional traffic giving work also being done to upgrade on the Old Man Bay dock, which is now completed. Mr. Speaker, the National Roads Authority has also installed culverts on the water main on Further Road in North Side to protect the integrity of the road network in those communities. Mr. Speaker, road safety guardrails by the east end blowholes is in the works of getting replaced right now. These milestones foreshadow even greater road upgrades in these communities in the years ahead. Frank Sound Road will be re-engineered and resurfaced, and the Frank Sound and Seaview Road intersection design is already ongoing. We have repaved sections of High Rock Drive in East End, shoulder improvements on select parts of Queens Highway, and in Old Man Bay in the progress. I am pleased to report that our constituents in both North Side and East End will directly benefit from the road modernization efforts prioritized by the government, demonstrating our commitment to enhancing infrastructure across our islands. Mr. Speaker, the ministerial change brought transport into my ministry. This addition to public transport to the ministry is a welcome and effective reorganization which further supports the holistic approach of this initiative we have set forth. Mr. Speaker, the Deloitte report commissioned by the former Ministry of Transport provide an assessment of the public transport strategy for the public bus system in Grand Cayman. Mr. Speaker, despite ongoing transition, I assure that honorable members of this House, our ministry unwavering dedication in advancing public transportation development, and my commitment is absolute. The insights from the Development Comprehensive Report will assist the crafting of the future transportation and blueprint for the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take the opportunity to inform the House that the Ministry has recruited 2 secondees from the UK specializing in public bus transportation to support the Ministry in improving the public bus system. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry has received approval from the Cabinet to explore potential avenues to merge the National Roads Authority, Public Transport Unit, and the Department of Vehicles and Driver's License into one. This brings us to the National Road Safety Strategy approved by Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, the National Road Safety Strategy addresses critical areas for action, such as enhancing drivers' education, improving pedestrians and cyclist safety, upgrading road infrastructure, and leveraging technology for better enforcement. The strategy also emphasizes the importance of community engagement and education to instill a culture of road safety. Through the efforts of committees and a national campaign began in late November, this cross-government initiative is set to reduce road fatalities to 0 by 2038. Safe roads, safe Cayman, the road to 0. Mr. Speaker, our ministry is seriously committed to addressing the pressing challenges that plague our roadways. I am very, very proud of the work that has been accomplished thus far. Mr. Speaker, beyond enhancing the road networks and mitigating the traffic issues, the ministry is deeply committed to refining the experience for drivers when they access government services, such as applying for the license and vehicle registration. To do this, Mr. Speaker, we are working with colleagues in this House to achieve several legislation reforms to improve our road and traffic environment and support our status as the premier international tourism destination and home to a world-class international engaged professionals. Mr. Speaker, These reforms are further amendments to the Traffic Act, and the traffic regulations include facilitating the driving license exchange with the United Kingdom as its own crown dependence, capabilities with the Geneva Convention to allow for international exchange of driver's license to countries that are signatories to the convention, an amendment to the Section 6(4)(a) of the Traffic Act for exchange of information with the insurance industry, amendments to allow the introduction of electronic driver's license and electronic vehicle registration, and finally an amendment to the Traffic Control Regulation Road Code to facilitate the recommendations to the Traffic Management Panel as it relates to roundabouts, new traffic signs, and road markings and traffic lights. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry and DVDL has successfully increased the number of government services that are available online. In 2022, 25% of total vehicles license and driver license applications were made online. That is nearly 3 times as many online applications as were made in the last year before the pandemic. Mr. Speaker, the value of this online activity is more than 4.3 million. The department continues to expand its online services. We're particularly looking forward to completing the e-services for customers to book written and road tests online. To provide some perspective, in 2021, DVDL manually managed, yes, I did say manually, 13,329 written road tests. And in 2022, this increased another 3%. Sorry, in 2023, this increased another 3%, utilizing the e-services for testing while encouraging the growing numbers of customers requiring written or road tests to use this option. Mr. Speaker, critical upgrades to the DVDL's computer system are underway to accommodate these and other online products and services, supporting the future and integration of systems for a better customer experience with DVDL. DVDL conducts regular customer service training, and late last year, officially we opened the West Bay license office at Jake Scott's Marketplace. Mr. Speaker, we're on target to open it in the new license department in the BRAC also, if we can ever get there to do that ribbon cutting also. Mr. Speaker, for vehicle management system have been integrated and nearly 30,000 vehicles have been replated in collaboration with the Tongass Computer Service Department. Mr. Speaker, the expansion and renovations of the Crew Road office is underway, as well as plans to grow DVDL staff. Mr. Speaker, we hope these initiatives continue to be supported by the budget. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry is actively engaging in formulating vehicle safety regulations. These pivotal designed to guarantee that vehicles are imported into the Cayman Islands meet stringent national safety standards, fostering the consumer and confidence and trust in the system. Mr. Speaker, managing how we develop as an island nation is important of the well-being of the Caymanians as modernization of our infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Planning plays a critical role in helping to ensure the development is sound and stable. The review of the National Development Plan Cayman has been an ongoing effort over the past 2 years. The Department of Planning has collaborated with the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resilience to ensure that the plan review reflects the policy goals of the government. Mr. Speaker, to assist the Central Planning Authority in this responsibility, a work plan was provided to the CPA proposing the creation of a joint project team which include representatives from the Ministry of Planning and the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resilience. Mr. Speaker, this document also proposes to update the 1997 planning statement using the Plan Cayman National Planning Framework as a foundation. Mr. Speaker, late last year, the Department of Planning launched a new Community Works platform representing an important update to the online planning system. Mr. Speaker, the Community Works and customers now have more tools and control options to better manage their projects and data. The new system allows for more dynamic features to be added more quickly and is also more secure. Additional hardware and cybersecurity infrastructure were included as part of the upgrade. As more functionality is added, the system will become increasingly easier to use and incorporate more of the department's functions. As the Cayman Islands continues to grow and develop, the need for careful project review and approval becomes even more critical. In 2021, the Department of Planning approved 793 projects totaling more than $1.2 billion in value across the residential, commercial, and industrial, institutional, agriculture and tourism, recreation, and other sectors. In 2022, it approved 922 such projects totaling more than $722 million in value. And in the last 2 years, the department has approved 933 certificates of occupancy, which are granted when the structure is deemed suitable for human occupancy, thereby allowing the structure to be connected to the power grid. Mr. Speaker, I believe it is important to mention here that the approval of projects occurs only after the Department of Planning carefully reviews the plans to ensure they meet all requirements for safe, stable, and construction and sustainable development. The development of the planning conducted 15,671 such reviews over the past 2 years, a testament to the committed team of the department. Mr. Speaker, once plans are approved, the construction is underway. The Ministry continues to represent the interests of our communities by conducting the inspections to ensure structural, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical components of the structures are compliant with the codes. More than 26,000 such inspections were conducted over the previous 2 years. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Planning has also identified room for improvement, and I am pleased to report has taken steps to expand to meet the demand and maintain efficiency. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry also has several key initiatives supporting the industry and the department that we feel will build on a strong foundation and increase the efficiency. This includes several key legislation changes to pursue the revisions of the Cayman Islands Building Code to enable us the adopting of the 2021 ICC planning codes. Mr. Speaker, these revisions will ensure that the environmental built in the Cayman Islands remains sustainable and resilient in the face of natural disasters, and environmentally responsible and cost-effective. The ability to use more environmentally friendly materials and methods will lead to deliver tangible outcomes for both the environment and our country. Mr. Speaker, other legislation changes include amendments to the Development and Planning Act, regulations to ensure they remain fit for purpose and deliver the highest and best outcomes for these islands in real terms. Mr. Speaker, amendments to encourage more native the use of the built environment through the encouragement of mixed-use developments and more effective building and land utilization. Mr. Speaker, delivering real tangible benefits and outcomes for the people of the Cayman Islands in area of social, economic, and environmental development that is truly sustainable, implementing a sustainable framework for the registration of trades and services involved in development industries. In other words, Mr. Speaker, a system that protects the interests of both the trade person and the consumers, and one that allows the development regime to implement fairly with accountability and transparency at its core. Undertaking such improvements will raise the quality of our industry while allowing flexible and fair regulations that should see an increase in our professional standards and processes that eases and more efficient. Mr. Speaker, the ministry includes the Department of Vehicles and Equipment Services, which has achieved some notable accomplishments within the last 2 years to help improve the servicing and sustainability of the government's vehicle fleet. Last year, the Department of Vehicle and Equipment Services completed an opening of Phase 2 of its redevelopment project, which consists of a new garage facility that includes a 19 service bay capable of servicing various vehicles and equipment owned by the Cayman Islands government. These range from light-duty to heavy-duty vehicles and equipment. This new garage facility will lead to more improvements in the Department of Vehicles and Equipment Services, including a better turnaround for repair times and increased work stability for large vehicles. Mr. Speaker, this government is committed to the national energy policy, which was focused on reducing the dependency on fossil fuels to align our vehicle fleet with that commitment. A section of the new garage is designed for work with electric vehicle technology, including technician training, maintenance, and a repair of electric vehicles. Mr. Speaker, the new space will facilitate the department's expansion of its training program, which will also provide opportunities for young Caymanians to get hands-on experience in the automotive field and to meet the requirements of the national energy policy. The Department of Vehicles and Equipment Services is upskilling its staff. Training has commenced with an online partner of advanced equipment technology and operations, and all technicians are expected to be certified by the end of first quarter of 2024. Mr. Speaker, the Cayman Islands government relies heavily on Public Works Department for the management and the preservation of its build-out of the environment. This department stands as a cornerstone ensuring that the government operates with stability, efficiency, and high degree of accountability in tandem with the overreaching goals of the government's PWD has been recalibrated its operations, aiming to better serve its client agencies. This is characterized by introductions of the streamline of transparent and process that governs the services requests, decision-making, and the allocation of resources. Mr. Speaker, reflecting on the past 2 years, the Ministry of Public Works Department has been proactive. Not only have they revealed countless designs for upcoming facilities, but they have also been overseeing over 100 major and minor projects distributed across the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, it brings me immense satisfaction to announce that for the year 2023 alone, we have seen a successful completion of 29 projects showcasing the department's dedication and efficiency. Mr. Speaker, today I have illustrated the pivotal role of the Ministry's Public Works Department in safeguarding and the functionality of the built environment and the cornerstone of sustaining the operation efficiency of the Cayman Islands government. The Public Works Department, in pursuit of excellence, the PWD has streamlined its service request decision-making and resources allocating processes, thus enhancing the transparency and efficiency in service delivered. Over the forthcoming 2 years, these refined processes will enhance communications and information management system and training initiatives within the department. Mr. Speaker, we plan an organization audit for the restructuring of the PWD. The PWD commitment to training is symbolized by the remarkable journey of the Construction Trades Training Center. The past September, we welcomed 43 Caymanians into our program. We eagerly anticipate celebrating their accomplishments in the graduation ceremony slated for January 24. Furthermore, reveal in a successful placement of our graduates into a full-time role in internships, a beacon of a brighter and prosperous future. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry Facility Management Department is steadfast and commits itself to fostering a safe, sustainable, and efficient environment for everyone. The roadmap for the coming years is anchored on the pillars of digitalization, sustainability, customer service enhancement, safety, and infrastructural development. To propel us into the modernization future, the Facility Management Department is gearing up into modernizing the future of the Facility Management Department. Efficiency curtail the expense and refine the services that is delivered. Currently, the introduction of a renewable energy initiative stands as a testament of our dedication to the environment impacts, aligning with the nation's energy policy objectives. Mr. Speaker, the Department reinforcing the resilience of government's data center, thereby safeguarding vital data through integration of additional system redundancies, in anticipating of evolving community needs, plans and underway to construct a multi-purpose hall in the northward area, doubling as a hurricane shelter. Additionally, the establishment of a remote working center is in the pipeline to move designs to offer a flexible working space, coupled with the installation of a new pony chiller to enhance the indoor air quality. Mr. Speaker, the Facility Management Department continues to foster the collaboration ties with over 55 agencies and various stakeholders, a synergy that promises smooth operation flows and successful project executions. As we navigate forward, we acknowledge the pressing challenges at hand, including staffing gaps and space constraints. We are actively addressing these issues with a focus on expansion and potential reallocation opportunities to accommodate our expanding workforce. Mr. Speaker, in the wake of recent global events, the urgency for a robust emergency evacuation protocol has amplified, as we had one here today. And I didn't have anything to do with that one today. Our efforts are directed towards fostering interdepartment collaboration in crafting a meticulous evacuation plans, ensuring preparedness and safety in critical times. Mr. Speaker, the Facility Management Department remains committed and its mandate to oversee the optimal function and maintenance of the government assets. Our vision is the center of addressing pressing challenges and fostering a nurturing work environment for the civil servants. I urge the honourable members of this Parliament to extend their support and collaborations as we strive to cultivate a government of ecosystem marked by excellence and safety. Mr. Speaker, this is a fitting point to update the Honourable House on the progress achieved by the Georgetown Revitalization Initiative. And 2023, as you are aware, Georgetown Revitalization was established to breathe a breath of new life into a bustling heart of our capital, Georgetown. Last year, we witnessed tangible progress, including the transformation of the section of Cardinal Avenue into the pedestrian-friendly zone. I am delighted to inform that the first phase of Cardinal Avenue and Albert Pannon Street upgrades have concluded successfully, and introducing enhanced and functionality of the area highlights, including the new street lights, mature trees, planting, and the infrastructure improvements, enhancing the safety and utility services. Moreover, we have forged a connection to the Seafarers Way, pocket that parks featuring solar power smart benches, offering free public Wi-Fi. Moving forward to phase 2 at the Adler Street and the Mean Street, the intersection, the new is now underway to ensure smooth operations and traffic management. Our commitment to fostering a vibrant community and spirit is evident in the array of events and initiates introduces this year the Street Food Festival, a celebration of local culture and culinary delights. Mr. Speaker, we have had a few what we call art in the city. A week-long art festival in June showcasing various galleries of pop-up shows fostering artistic engagement in the heart of Georgetown, the town market. These events aim to nurture communities and engagement with plans on the way to organize it more frequently. Mr. Speaker, as we progress, several collaborations and future initiatives are in the horizon, including the water project in the partnership with the Rotary Central and the development of the Smart City platform. Additionally, a specialized group is working to enhance the parking and housing facilities and paving the way for a well-planned and modern Georgetown. Mr. Speaker, the GTR, our steadfast dedication to rejuvenating Georgetown and nurturing a community that is vibrant and inclusive, the value of ongoing support and collaboration for this Honourable House as we continue as promised. Mr. Speaker, moving forward with the ministry update, I would like to highlight a project critical to the Cayman Islands and depending on the prosperity, the subsea cable project. World-class communication and infrastructure standards as the backbone of this progressive nation. Recognizing a pivotal role, the ministry has been diligently collaborating with the submarine cable and business development, specializing in consulting extensively and analyzing in excess of potential solutions. We have been vigilant in understanding and the risks associated with such a massive project. Our current international telecommunication systems through critical and are nearing the end of their life. These systems are responsible for 99% of our external communications, with technologies advancements and the rise of the internet and telecommunication landscape has changed dramatically since the inception of our current cables. Mr. Speaker, it is imperative to note that the majority of the vital infrastructure is privately owned. Typically, the private sector would have initiated a replacement plan at least 5 years before the system ended its life. And to our knowledge, no such concrete plans exist. Mr. Speaker, given the extent of the gross and domestic production relying on the resilience of high-quality communication, a passive observance is no longer.
Honourable Minister, we've reached the moment of interruption. May I call on the Honourable Premier to suspend Standing Order 10.2 in order that the business of the House may continue beyond 4:30 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move the suspension of Standing Order 10.2 in order to allow the House to continue beyond the hour of interruption.
The question is that Standing Order 10.2 be suspended in order to allow the proceedings of the House to continue beyond 4:30 p.m. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no. The ayes have it. Standing Order 10.2 is accordingly suspended. The Minister, continuing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to inform this we have onboarded the necessary submarine cable expert to spearhead this subsea cable initiative. In our pursuit to modernizing our submarine cable infrastructure, our RFP for advisor for the project support garnered multiple responses following a meticulous evaluation, and a preferred supplier was recommended to the PPC on the 30th of August 23, with the approval to secure on the 13th of September 23. A contract negotiations completed the agreement and signed on the 6th of November, and the project's initiation is underway. The project's primary goal include drafting a final recommendation approach, obtaining caucus endorsement for the final business case, and devising a detailed project plan. Depending on the chosen options, we envision the completion of this new infrastructure within the next 24 to 48 months. And that is what we were talking about with the business case going forward. Mr. Speaker, the importance of this project cannot be overstated. Our existing cable is not just outdated, it operates at its maximum capacity. On one system, the public must understand of any failure of these cables, events in place like the Shetland Island, over the past years are stark reminders of the exposures we face. Our detailed business plan, for exception of a new subsea cable, has been crafted with the utmost diligence, encompassing a broad spectrum of considerations, a strategic case, options and insight poised to steer Cabinet for a resolution, an economic case, a financial case, and a commercial case, and a management case of a blueprint that is to be approached towards the project's realization. Mr. Speaker, the business plan recognizes the potential for the governmental intervention to fill the gap left by insufficient private sector investment. While the urgency may dictate the swift actions, we remain committed to ensuring that any solution is durable, cost-effective, and future-proof. Mr. Speaker, the government's objective remains firm to fortify the long-term resilience of the Cayman Islands international communication, to ensuring both citizens and business benefit from unmatched services at the affordable rates for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, my final update on this strides made by the utility regulations known as off-reg in 2023, as well as a focal point for concluding the quarter of this year. In the ongoing year, we have achieved several milestones across different sectors. Notable, we have instituted rules and safeguards for our critical national utility infrastructure, such as our cybersecurity and our undersea cables. This move aligns with our efforts to enhancing consumer protection and bolstering the enforcement activities, with significant guidelines set in place for advertising and broadcasting conduct and set to implement in 2024. In the fuel sector, OFREC has established a national fuels quality standards slated for implementation next year. This complement by initiatives like the introduction of the renewable fuel E85 to reduce the environmental impact and planned amendments to the Dangerous Substance Act for a greater transparency in fuel pricing. Mr. Speaker, going forward, we aim to continue regulatory account pilot programs and finalize license frameworks to ensure competition and regulatory oversight in the fuel market. In the information and communication technology sectors, we have modernized the regulatory policies to ensure the network reliability and customer protection, including a substantial fine imposed for unapproved price increasements. And Mr. Speaker, the council are not working in that department. Mr. Speaker, we are working towards drafting a national strategy to guide the development of infrastructure and services in the Cayman Islands, while fostering a cooperation amongst local broadcasters to address the common issues and new policy initiatives. In the energy and utility sector, we expand the core program, allowing more households to connect to the CUC grid and advertise the energy policy in the Council of the National Energy Policy. Mr. Speaker, our focus remains launching the solar and battery storage projects, facilitating the negotiations for the waste-to-energy project, for overseeing of the liquid natural gas project conversion process. Mr. Speaker, as we move ahead, we remain committed to enhancing the consumer protection, to ensuring the operation reliability of the infrastructure utilized by the licensees in various sectors. Mr. Speaker, 2 years ago, in my very first budget address to this Honorable House, I expressed optimism about this program's initiatives in the ministry and its departments and agencies would complete. Mr. Speaker, I stand before you proud of the accomplishments we have achieved together, and I remain optimistic about our future. We have laid a solid foundation, and with the support of the budget, we are poised to continue our good work and fulfill our plans moving forward. In closing, I am honored to submit this budget statement to this Honorable House. A heartfelt thank you to the dedicated staff of the ministry, whose tireless efforts and unwavering dedication have been instrumental in our achievement. I also extend my profound appreciation to the finance team, whose expertise and diligence have been pivotal in crafting a budget that reflects our commitment to the Cayman Islands and its people. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, we have to take our hats off to the finance team, because they really worked hard to get us down here in the time frame that they've had. Mr. Speaker, as we proceed with the deliberation of this budget, I urge the Honorable House to support this budget, recognizing the immense value it holds for every Caymanian. Let us unite our commitment to the betterment of the beloved Cayman Islands, ensuring that the legacy we build today will benefit generations to come. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, I appreciate the opportunity to share our progress and our future plans with you all. And Mr. Speaker, just before I get into my last bit, I want to just give an update of some of the things that we have going on in my constituency of North Side. Mr. Speaker, when I got in, one of the first things that we looked at was a lot of our roadways going into North Side. Some of them were never gazetted, or they weren't in the right location, and we started to do a cleanup exercise with them, transferring a lot of these right-of-ways into Crown, so that we don't end up in another court matter over some of these right-of-ways that we've had before. And as we did them, we started to clean them up, pave them, and move forward with them, not only in my district, but throughout the island as we found them, or as members may have brought some to my attention. We would actually get them gazetted and transferred into Crown. Some developers had them in their names. They were very happy to transfer them over to Crown. Recently, we have just undertaken the expansion of the corner by the gas station, allowing us to widen that corner. Mr. Speaker, we've had 7 accidents this year recorded on that corner alone, just this year. And we had to do something about it. So we had to acquire some land to be able to widen the corner. So we purchased the house on the corner and we knocked that down. Now it is so much more easier to see around the corner when you're coming. In the new year, the team of NRA will get back out there to finish the expansion and putting a sidewalk around that particular property, by using the rest of the land as a overflow parking for the Ronald Forbes football field, which we don't have much parking for now. So that will help with that. We have completed the build out of the Old Man Bay dock. I'm happy to say it's done. We are in the phases right now of building the restrooms on the land side for that particular park. We're engaging right now to be able to build the cabanas, 3 cabanas on the seaside, but also building a international size volleyball court area on the seaside. We just finished completion of the basketball court on the land side, at which I must say the kids are very happy, and I thank the team and the government for their full support. I can tell you, there's about every night I go home, there's at least somebody there enjoying that basketball court. We have purchased several beach properties in Northside that I thank the government for their full support on. Purchasing a property by the Hotland Junction, which will allow us to be able to in the future, build a park there for the people of Hotland so that they don't have to go too far if they want to enjoy the beach anymore. They have a beach just right at the entrance now. We've purchased the property at the Frank Sound Junction, next to the Frank Sound launching ramp. I thank all my colleagues for their support, and my colleague next to me from the East End also. It was something that we fought for, and we thought it was really good, and the full government supported it. You know, we've committed to doing the homes, as I spoke to, in Northside. We've purchased property for the expansion of the Edna Moyle Primary School, which I must say, the works of the design phase is being done and going through the Ministry of Education. I thank the Premier for her push into seeing that this is necessary and getting the design work done. I thank you, ma'am, from the people of Northside. We thank you too for that support. And we do thank all of the government colleagues. We are engaging on the final reports for the Cayman public beach, which a lot of you may know that go down there. That public beach is eroding very badly. And we're at I think 98% completed with the design work now, going for the coastal work matters for that. To be able to see that project get finished for the next year. It's been a plague for the people in Northside for quite some time. It's something that they have wanted to see completed, and I'm glad that we have actually pushed that milestone there to be able to see that completion. One of the things also that we've looked at and that we're looking and engaging with is a seniors home for the Northside seniors, which a lot of the works are being carried out by PWD, and hopefully the Deputy Premier will be able to do a ribbon cutting there in the new year coming up. I must say the works have been moving quite well with that project. So there's several things that I am proud of to be able to stand here today and say that we've gotten done for the constituency of Northside, which is dear to my heart. And I must say that is what gets me up every morning, on getting that traffic flow and knowing that when I drive through, I see the difference that we're making from not only from Northside to East End to West Bay. When I drive, because I'm like what my friend behind me say, we consider ourselves a social butterfly. So we do end up from Northside to West Bay. But I wanted to say that thank you for all of the support from the team, for all of the works that we have done, and I thank you all for all the works that we have to continue doing. I want to just also talk about the East End fishermen. They have been asking for a new dock in East End, and the minister from East End is on board 100% and has been pushing with me to get that coastal works license done, so that in the new year we can look at building a new concrete dock for the fishermen in East End. We also look at building a new dock for the members in West Bay. Also at, what is the name of that property again, sir? Morgan's Harbor. Yeah. So we are also looking at getting that coastal works done for them also, to build that. It has been one that has been needed done also. We've looked at it, whether we do a wood dock back, but it was more feasible for us to actually build a concrete one. So we're in the design to get that done. a lot of this work will be commencing in the first quarter of next year. Sorry? Yes, and when it comes to Bordentown West, we have several road works that we are going through and completing in Bordentown. Also looking at some of the parks in Bordentown also, and I think that falls in Bordentown East, one of the that we're looking at. But we're also looking at a building out of a park in Bordentown West in Wilty Drive, which is already ongoing, and we should see the completion of that next year. But one of the big things too, sir, that we should see the completion of is that Bordentown Hall that has been ongoing for several years. That is coming to a near completion right now, and I want to say I think we should have that completed hopefully in the first quarter of next year. And that, again, will be another milestone that has been completed for a lot of the individuals. I think that has passed through several administrations' hands. So that is one big one. I want to just say a Merry Christmas when it comes to all of my colleagues. I want to say Merry Christmas to my constituency of Northside. They are my heart. They are the ones that really drives me, gets me going, and there's nothing better than helping and knowing that I'm making a difference for them in this honorable house. So, my people of Northside, I look forward to seeing you all if Sir Alden doesn't hold me too late in this house throughout the weeks. But I would love to see you all for the Christmas. And a Merry Christmas to everybody. Yes, we are doing some roads in Sir Alden's area. How could I, on speed tables in Marina Drive. And how could I forget Sir Alden, it is Sanchez Park, which is, I know is close to you too. That is definitely moving forward and getting to near completion in the area of Red Bay. I thank you all, and you all have a good day.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Planning and Infrastructure, etc. Does any other member wish to speak? The Honorable Deputy Governor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to offer my contribution to the debate on the 2024-2025 budget. Mr. Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to begin by acknowledging the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor, Ms. Jean Owen, who expertly delivered her first throne speech at this meeting. Since arriving, Her Excellency has offered unwavering leadership, dedication, and advocacy on behalf of the people of these beloved islands. Mr. Speaker, I work with Her Excellency every day. She is an excellent governor, and she works very hard for the benefit of the people of our islands. As her words reflected, she is keen to see the Cayman Islands continue to succeed and for the UK-Cayman Islands partnership to flourish in recognition of our shared past, mutual ideas, and common aspirations for the future. Equally, Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank the Honorable Premier and Honorable Ministers and members of the United People's Movement for their leadership and so clearly setting out the strategic direction for the Cayman Islands by way of the 2024 and 2025 budget. Mr. Speaker, we have a Premier who is a strong leader, God-fearing, and willing to make the difficult decisions to make the lives of our people better. It has been a pleasure to work with her in her short time as Premier. I wish to assure this government that I, along with my capable senior leadership team, will continue to work alongside the government to deliver the policies and initiatives necessary to fulfill the objectives of the strategic policy statement, ensuring that we meet the current and future needs of our most valuable asset, our people. As Deputy Governor and Head of the Civil Service, I can confirm that we have established broad foundations which will provide fertile grounds for fulfilling the government's ambitious plans and vision for this country. Mr. Speaker, they say that change is the only constant. And as I have the pleasure of engaging with you in your new role, Mr. Speaker, I know that I need not convince you of this truth. It has been a distinct pleasure to work with you in many capacities in which you have served our country. And as you take on the role of Speaker, I pledge to you, as I have your predecessors, the full support of our civil service. Mr. Speaker, Cayman Thanksgiving is not long past. For all of the challenges which have been raised during our deliberations, and rightly so, I cannot help but feel blessed. The good Lord spared these islands from storms and even the threat of storms in 2023. Political challenges were overcome, not only peacefully, but with both sides of the aisle pledging to work together for the good of the Cayman Islands. And a clear and deliberate path has been set forward in this budget to take the islands safely forward. Mr. Speaker, I say from time to time how lucky we are as a people, as the Cayman Islands, and my wife reminds me, we are not lucky, we are blessed. And I really believe that. As I reflect, I also wish to thank the government for its foresight by continuously investing in its workforce. Mr. Speaker, the men and women of our civil service and the wider public service continue to make us proud, and their performance overall helps the Cayman Islands to stand tall in the world. Employers, whether large or small, in the private or public sectors, are battling to secure talent. That struggle is even more fiercely contested for our civil service, which aims to attract, retain, and promote Cayman's best and brightest, and where necessary, to augment our workforce with similar-minded global talent who are highly skilled and share our common purpose to make lives better. On the heels of the phenomenon like the Great Resignation and silent quitting, which globally reduced the size of available workforce and froze employee engagement respectively, CIG has focused on leadership, talent development, and employee recognition to fuel our team's passion for delivering on behalf of our government and the people of these beloved islands. In 2022 and 2023, as Cayman's economy rebounded and demands for public services intensified, the civil service has consistently risen to meet these challenges. Meeting these challenges has meant some growth. To put this growth in context, it is important to look at the situation nationally. Over the past 20 years, between 2003 to 2023, the Cayman Islands population has increased by 90%. Over the same time frame, civil service headcount only grew by 46%, half of the population growth. Civil service headcount is also considerably lower than growth in our island's overall workforce. So I agree that the civil service has grown in recent years, but it has not done so in a bubble. As our population grows, it drives demand for expansion and innovation in education, which represents roughly 1/4 of the civil service, intelligent-led and properly equipped law enforcement, which represents the next largest professional group who safeguard our borders and patrols our streets and our waters, passionate teams to preserve our heritage and safeguard our fragile environment, policy experts to support Cayman's economic interests by delivering the government's strategy to combat threats to our financial industry while encouraging economic growth and diversification. And a whole cadre of service providers who toil every day on behalf of a growing population to collect our waste, eradicate mosquitoes, and process our applications from everything from imports to passports to first-time Caymanian landowner stamp duty waivers, to name just a few. So, Mr. Speaker, the civil service has experienced some growth to meet these demands, yet the growth is below our approved parameters. It is notable that during 2022 to 2023, the civil service was forecasted by the Ministry of Finance to deliver these and more services far beyond our personnel budgets. In 2022 to 2023, the civil service was forecast to achieve some $66 million in HR savings. Many teams not only worked beyond their job description, but rose to the occasion by fulfilling other jobs' description simultaneously. I am therefore most grateful, Mr. Speaker, to the Premier and the government for utilizing a portion of this HR underspend to authorize the one-off payment this December of $1,500 for civil servants and for public servants in the SAGCs who achieve similar outcomes and similar savings. Mr. Speaker, this funding comes at an important time for employees, and I can't tell you just how many civil servants have expressed to me their sincere thanks to the government and indeed this Parliament for holding us to account but offering rewards where they have been earned. Also, my portfolio had the privilege of working with an incredibly dedicated board of directors, executives, and team at the Public Service Pension Board. On their behalf, please allow me to go on record to express our sincere thanks to the Honorable Premier and our government for its support for our pensioners. Approximately 600 Cayman retirees who worked for government for more than a decade before reaching the normal retirement age and whose monthly pensions were below the $1,250 per month saw their pensions uplifted to this new minimum threshold. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go off script for a minute just to say this, is that much has been said. There's been much criticism. Why is the government giving these people money? Mr. Speaker, a civil servant said to me when they heard about the $1,500. This is a single mother who makes just over $3,000 a month. She has one child. She's paying rent. She said, DG, please pass on my thanks to everyone involved in this decision because I was faced with a problem or an issue that no mom should have to face, in that I was going to have to decide whether to pay my light bill or buy my children, my daughter, some gifts for Christmas. This $1,200, this $1,500, will now allow me to do both. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of government is to help its people. And if we can't give some very deserving persons $1,500 for a year's work, that's a problem. That is a problem. Mr. Speaker, we are drifting, I believe, or some of us is drifting, not everyone, where when something good happens to people, it seems to be a problem. But when something bad happens, we want to celebrate. How did we get here as a people? How did we get here? How did we get here where when you hear about something good happening to one of your fellow Caymanians, you don't say, wow, I'm so happy for them. They deserve that. Now it's, well, why you didn't give it to me? Or why you gave them this amount? Come on, Mr. Speaker. We are, as a people, I think we need to have a check in 2024 and you say, you know what, let's put this all behind us. We are going to be one Caymanian, one person. We are going to celebrate with each other. And when we see someone that is not in a good place, we're going to help them. Not post on Facebook or on Instagram or on all other social media. Look at what happened to this person. Let's celebrate. Let's try to help those persons. Because, Mr. Speaker, think about our pensioners. These are persons who have worked for us years and years ago under very difficult conditions, many of them. And they had over 10 years of pensionable service. They were only getting a few $100s a month. The government has consistently increased that to where we're at $950. But, Mr. Speaker, we know you can't do anything with $950. You know, that's a light bill. So, Mr. Speaker, I applaud the government for caring, for doing the right thing. And Cayman, let us stop the criticism. Let us come together and celebrate our successes. And when we see someone who is struggling, let's reach out a hand to help, not to hurt. Mr. Speaker, regardless of how long they worked or how much they earn, all public service pensioners benefit each and every year from a rare but important plan design feature. Specifically, during retirement, pensioners' fixed income is inflation protected. During 2023 alone, pensioners received an 8.3% cost of living adjustment, which is called an augmentation, when it applies to pensioners. This augmentation, which is calculated based on ESO's data and paid annually for all substantive pensioners, was paid retroactive to January 2023 to more than 2,000 retirees. We're very proud of this, Mr. Speaker, that we can take care of our pensioners. This is a built-in design feature of public service pensions to enable persons who have exhausted their working years to still have prospects of living in dignity during retirement. Another important feature is that no matter whether a retiree lives to be 80, 90, or 110, they have the comfort of knowing that they will receive their pension as long as they live. Finally, another key component is the way that public service plans anticipate the need to extinguish debt before entering retirement. The public service pension plan allows a one-time withdrawal or computation of up to 25% of the total value of a pension. This withdrawal coincides with retirement and allows persons to dispose of high debt in order to live on a fixed income during retirement. These innovative features, inflation protection, lifelong annuities, and one-off withdrawals at the time of retirement, were specifically designed with sustainability in mind for the plan as well as the participant. Today, the PSBB Invest assets have grown to more than $1 billion to secure the future. This outcome is made possible by the foresight of past lawmakers, the diligence of current plan administrators and investment advisors, and the discipline and ethos of current lawmakers, policy advisors, and plan participants. I say this is rare, Mr. Speaker, because in an information age, the lure of instantaneous gratification is stronger than ever. There are constant pressures to borrow from tomorrow to fix today. However, there are trade-offs to every system. In our system, making the previously described outcomes possible for current and future retirees requires a disciplined way of forcibly saving for our future. The Bible says, Mr. Speaker, to everything there is a season, a time to reap and a time to sow. For those who are still a part of the workforce and are sowing seeds which they will reap during their long retirement, we are committed to finding solutions that are sustainable. Early withdrawals from pensions plans may work for some plan designs, but would begin to unravel the rare benefits which our public service enjoys. We believe that maintaining competitive salaries, which include some elements of timely salary scale adjustments that benefit all active employees, is one highly effective way to help persons qualify for home ownership in the first instance and to maintain it when inflationary pressures on interest rates threaten to take away such ownership. Public servants have other tools at their disposal. Again, some of those institutions were born of foresight, discipline, and an ethos that speaks to investing in our futures. By working with institutions such as the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association Credit Union, the Staff Association, and other stakeholders and concerned parties, we are committed to finding alternatives that do not threaten the sustainability of our pension programs, but provide access to persons needing bridge financing to secure housing. The Public Service Pension Board proposes amendments to the Public Service Pension Act and similar laws for PSBB members that will allow its members to make additional voluntary contributions. Such additional investment vehicles, which are funded by employee contributions, could have more flexible withdrawal components because they would be in addition to the current minimum contribution of 12%. The government has signaled its strong support to help all Caymanians with the private and public sectors, within the private and public sectors, and policy practitioners are keen to engage on sustainable options to achieve this outcome within the public sector. Mr. Speaker, as Deputy Governor and Head of the Civil Service, I am responsible for the portfolio of the Civil Service, which delivers work across these overarching areas: HR strategy, governance, and public sector reform. The upcoming fiscal period will present fresh challenges and opportunities as the civil service embarks on the latest mile markers of our journey to becoming a world-class organization. When we first embarked on this journey in 2018, we recognized that setting such a lofty vision would put a target on our backs. Thousands of persons use government services each and every day, which represents thousands of interactions that could go wrong. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the risks, I wholeheartedly support this vision and still do. I have to borrow inspiration from the Premier's policy address, the audacity of optimism. Yes. In this case, Mr. Speaker, my optimism is sprung from the realization that I am blessed to work with an amazing team of civil servants who are driven by a common purpose to make lives better. Mr. Speaker, throughout the debate over the last 2 days, ministers have risen and has given praise to the civil service for the work that they do, and I want to thank all of the ministers and the opposition as well, who also spoke highly of our civil service. Mr. Speaker, I have great faith in our people, and that is why I believe our vision, although a very bold vision, is the right one, because our people deserve to be treated by a world-class civil service. Our elected government deserves a world-class civil service to do their work. Mr. Speaker, it's a vision. It is not something that we say that we are today. It's a vision. Mr. Speaker, I want to read Amazon's, which we all familiar with, Amazon's vision statement: to be Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online. Now, that is a very lofty and bold customer statement, vision statement. To be Earth's most customer-centric company, where people can go and discover anything they might want to buy online. Mr. Speaker, Amazon has not achieved that vision. You can't buy cassava cake on Amazon. But we all want to use Amazon, and we say that that vision is a very good vision. That that's what they want to achieve. We want to be world class because our people deserve it, our government deserves it. And Mr. Speaker, if there's any group of people that can deliver it, it's our people. They can do it, they have done it, and we will achieve this vision. Since 2018, as part of the civil service strategy, CIG has closely monitored client interactions at some of our heaviest visited agencies, ranging from visitors coming in and out of our airports to users of postal services. Some 36 portals are deployed across the Cayman Islands, soliciting feedback from persons creating new companies at General Registry to persons seeking financial assistance at NAU. Earlier this year, this optimism was met with tangible successes in delivering favorable customer experience. Mr. Speaker, in September, CIG celebrated an overall customer satisfaction rating of 93%, gained from 1 million responses received to our Happy or Not customer service feedback terminals. And Mr. Speaker, I think in any country, 93% is a world-class score. You get 93% on an exam, you get an A. So 1 million times those buttons were pressed, and we have a 93% happy rating. Mr. Speaker, that is something that we should be proud of. That should be something that we should be very, very proud of, and we should celebrate. And I want to thank all of our civil servants who work hard every day to attain that outcome. Two of our early adopters of this program, the Department of Vehicle and Driver's License, DVDL, and the Cayman Islands Post Office, are examples of the benefits of monitoring and acting on customer feedback. The DVDL, in response to early feedback, made concerted efforts in 2021 to improve its service delivery. As a result, their Happy Index increased from 67% in 2018 to 91% in 2021 and 94% in 2022. Mr. Speaker, that is progress. I want to thank the director, Mr. Dixon, and his incredible team at DVDL. Mr. Speaker, there was a time when I got complaints about DVDL and people having to wait there for hours to get their car registered. Mr. Speaker, you can get your car registered online now in less than 10 minutes. You don't have to go to DVDL. You don't ever have to go to DVDL for anything. Not to get your car registered. I think you still have to go to collect your driver's license, and that's going to change soon. So, Mr. Speaker, we are listening to our customers. We're taking their feedback, and we are making world-class changes that is making people's lives better. Since 2018, the Cayman Islands Post Office has consistently maintained a Happy Index of over 90 by monitoring its customer satisfaction results. That team is continuously seeking to improve its service delivery and has recently started to utilize the digital hyperlinks associated with the kiosk to obtain deeper insights into customer feedback. Again, let us thank Ms. Glasgow and her team at the post office for the work that they're doing to improve customer experience. Other empirical data is also being tracked to improve customer experience. In September this year, Mr. Speaker, the Department of Work saw increases in the average customer feedback rating. This happiness is linked to improved service delivery. That month, Work served 6,907 clients, averaging 329 per day. On average, all clients were in and out of the office within 15 minutes and 14 seconds. That included a 10-minute wait time and 5 minutes of transactional time. Again, Mr. Speaker, I used to get complaints of people having to wait there for hours. Now, the average time is 15 minutes. Leaders at work are leveraging these insights to motivate their teams and to continuously seek improvements that benefit the public. And as the Minister for this department said earlier, Minister for Employment, he mentioned Mr. Jeremy Scott and his team. And I want to also commend Mr. Scott and his team. We have a new Caymanian director taking up this department, and he's doing a fabulous job. There are other ways across the civil service where we have made gains in improving our capacity to deliver exceptional customer service during the original 5-year strategic plan for the civil service. For example, we adopted a new CI government customer pledge, which is to deliver, thereby creating a common approach for improving customer experience. We launched our Customer Service Academy and trained 1,487 ambassadors on the front line across the CIG. We developed workshops and trained 107 customer service champions. We conducted monthly and annual recognition of employees across the civil service through the Deputy Governor's Award Program, designating scores of persons as our Employee of the Month and many others receiving Chief Officer's Choice Award for serving with distinction within their own ministry and portfolio. We integrated team recognition into our employee recognition program to support ways of embedding our core competency of working together as our business as usual behavior. We increased the convenience of service delivery to our customers by increasing self-service options, working in tandem with e-government to the extent that 62 services are now online or in development. Let's say that again, Madam Speaker. There are now 62 services offered by the government that are now online or in development. That's a great achievement. We achieved numerous goals in our leadership work too. We launched the Leadership Academy through the Civil Service College. We hosted regular leadership events for senior leaders, including virtual sessions during COVID pandemic lockdown periods. We have started work to develop and further support succession planning arrangements. We developed and promulgated the Civil Service Code values. We extended existing wellness programs to the Wellness Committee and delivered employee health and well-being initiatives, including launching Lunch and Learns, the DG 5K, the Pedometer Challenge, the Sports Day, and the Half Marathon. We have administered 6 annual employee engagement surveys, which shows an increase in the engagement index to our present level of 73%, up 6% since 2017. In 2022, we conducted the second annual 360-degree reviews and coaching with 594 leaders and senior managers participating, up from 323 in 2021. We distilled key concepts into a succinct leadership statement for the civil service. Talent development. We developed a learning and development policy position applicable across the civil service, which reflects CIG's commitment to lifelong learning and performance improvement, adopts minimum annual training targets for continuous development, and catalogs the range of training interventions sponsored by the Civil Service College, and identifies commitments expected of both management and staff. We expanded the learning and development offered to all civil servants using the Civil Service College learning pathways. We developed and adopted a core competency framework applicable to all civil servants at all levels. We are developing career pathways for identified professional vocational clusters within the civil service. We have developed terms of reference for advisory committees and heads of profession who will provide guidance on learning and development priorities for different professional vocational groups. Work has started to develop and deploy a common framework for strategic workforce planning and the strategies for acquiring, developing, and promoting talent. Under effective communication, the Cabinet Office created the Department of Communication, CIG Communications. We created and launched a communication cascade, which we continue to use to disseminate key messages across CIG. We consistently achieve over 90% awareness of the vision to be a world-class civil service. We developed and implemented a communication strategy which consistently promotes the government policy priorities across internal and external audiences. We developed and launched brand standards to reflect the Cayman Islands government identity. We effectively improved our crisis management communications, which helped government to communicate key messages during COVID and achieve the level of success that we did. We facilitated communications via an updated hub, which helps us to embed the vision of a world-class civil service. We continuously communicate results of the annual civil service engagement surveys, which provide the baseline for measuring employee motivation. We develop professional competencies of the communication profession to drive improvements in government communication delivery, and we developed and rolled out the new gov.ky platform. Under governance, we adopted, implemented, and communicated the CIG governance model. We have provided ongoing training to public officers on ethical conduct. We established an independent whistleblower hotline. Over 800 employees completed the online anti-fraud and whistleblowing training. We introduced and expanded orientation programs to statutory authority boards. We introduced mandatory orientation for all new hires within CIG. The Cabinet Office delivered training to 435 participants on policy development. The SRU trained 214 managers in program and project management. We established the Audit and Risk Committee. We took an independent quality assurance of the Internal Audit Service. We launched the Standards in Public Life Act. We launched the Parliament Management Commission, thus establishing this Parliament as an independent branch of government. We established the Office of the Ombudsman. We implemented a range of anti-fraud policies, including the Code of Business Ethics and Conduct Policy, the Records Retention Policy, the Whistleblowing Policy, and the Hospitality, Entertainment, and Gifts Policy. We implemented the Public Authorities Act. We designated and launched training on designing and implementing policies. We implemented the Whistleblower Protection Act. We expanded policy development and project management training for civil servants. The Minister of Finance implemented the procurement regulations. We undertook a quality assurance review of the internal audit function. We created a competency framework for the policy profession in 2021, and we developed and launched the Data Protection Act. A lot of work, Mr. Speaker, a lot of work. Our jobs are to implement the policies of our elected leaders, and we are blessed to receive from them clear and ambitious policies that tell us how we can make lives better by delivering their broad outcomes to improve the quality of life for Caymanians, enhance competitiveness while meeting international standards, future-proof to increase resiliency, modernize government to improve public sector performance, and protect and promote Caymanian cultural heritage and identity. Mr. Speaker, the civil service is energized around this mandate. The renewed civil service strategy will continue to focus on enhancing customer experience, leadership, talent development, communications, and governance. Additionally, it will introduce a pillar on accountability to embed our past successes as business as usual. Within the past budget cycle, the POCS core HR team and supported by talented HR professionals across CIG, delivered many cross-cutting innovative projects aimed at ensuring CIG has the necessary talent now and in the future to deliver the government policy priorities. Mr. Speaker, with the facilitation of the POCS Management Support Unit, or MSU, the civil service have made significant strides in realizing its vision to be a world-class organization, which is nothing less than our citizens, our government, and our employees deserve. In the upcoming fiscal period, the civil service will embark on the next leg of this journey with a renewed strategic plan. The civil service remains committed to the mission, which is to support the elected government by delivering caring, modern, and customer-centered public services and programs which deliver value for money. Our purpose continues to be focused on making the lives of those we serve better. As part of the refresh of the strategic plan, we engaged stakeholders through a consultative review process, and I listened to the feedback from our elected government officials, our civil service teams, and many other participants. Based on this feedback, we bolstered initiatives under the existing goals, and we added a focus on developing a culture of accountability within the civil service, which reconfirms my commitment to creating a world-class civil service. Civil services across the globe are managing many of the same challenges that we face in the Cayman Islands. These range from the existential threats like climate change to finding sustainable ways to support aging populations, manage growth and immigration, and tackle increasing costs of living, just to name a few. We feel the impacts of these challenges here in the Cayman Islands, and I applaud the government for the policy-focused initiatives and funding that not only recognizes these global issues, but provides targeted and effective solutions for our people in all three islands. We have already demonstrated our ability to be world leaders when managing global challenges. Through our response to the COVID-19 pandemic, our lives literally depended on it. The leadership displayed by elected officials through successive governments and the work supported by a highly coordinated civil service was nothing less than world-class. This strategic and collaborative effort is one that I am incredibly humbled by and proud of. We should all be proud. As part of our strategic plan refresh and the renewed emphasis on creating a culture of accountability, I have called upon our chief officers to provide strategic leadership and support for our internal review of our programs and services in 2024, with a view of identifying opportunities to improve our efficiency and effectiveness. This review will help us to embed a culture of continuous improvement and ensure that we are well placed to support the elected government, and by extension, the people of the Cayman Islands to provide services that deliver the best public value. The review will also enhance our customer service efforts as we develop initiatives where consideration of the needs of the citizen is central to the design and delivery of services. The comprehensive review will be supported by a diverse team comprising of both new and seasoned civil servants, hailing from various ministries and portfolios. The inclusion of new civil servants in the review team is aimed at bringing in a novel perspective while also leveraging the strengths of our younger workforce, as well as those persons who have worked in the private sector or other civil services around the world. Opportunities will be available to incorporate insights from both local and international private sector and civil service viewpoints. The review will include a strategic analysis of our human capital, Mr. Speaker. We recognize that as the population of the Cayman Islands increases, more is required from the civil service to meet the expanding needs of the country. With that being said, It is critical that we manage the growth of the civil service to ensure that we can respond effectively to population increases. Mr. Speaker, I was reminded by the Father of the House a few sessions ago that we just simply cannot continue to grow the size of the civil service. It is not sustainable. But the answer is not to promote widespread increases in the size of the civil service, but to strategically plan for and manage any increases while simultaneously reviewing and improving our needs to meet our country's needs. We will also focus on cost-saving opportunities and mechanisms, and we will make recommendations to our elected leaders that meets government objectives while prioritizing higher standards of service delivery. We recognize the importance of ensuring efficiency, cost effectiveness, and innovation in the delivery of public services. And we will be seeking to leverage technology, optimize procurement processes, eliminate duplication of services, improve strategic personnel management, and enhance policy advice through research and the effective use of business case thinking, tools, and methodologies. Mr. Speaker, while I have spent much time elaborating on the refreshed strategic plan and the 2024 internal review, I wish to speak about our key initiatives rolled out by the Management Support Unit in 2022 and 2023, such as the digital smileys in the frontline departments to augment the existing manual feedback process, as well as their launch of communities of practice for deputy chief officers, heads of departments, and HR and the HR profession. In the 2 years ahead, the Management Support Unit will launch Year 3 of the 360-degree feedback and coaching process, focusing on developing a culture of accountability in the civil service. Launch a community of practice for the finance profession, and roll out events for frontline workers aimed at energizing and reconnecting them to the CIG focus of serving our customers. We have already begun that, speaking to our frontline workers, and the Deputy Premier and myself attended such an event just a few weeks ago. I thank him for his participation. It's important that we have a joined-up approach to these initiatives. Mr. Speaker, the 2022-23 budget marked 2 productive years for the Office of the Deputy Governor. As part of the strategic support provided by my office to strengthen good governance initiatives, ODG developed a number of governance and management circulars, providing senior civil servants and managers with guidance on best practice in the areas of public service mergers, contracts, and legal advice, the delivery of e-services projects, and management of third-party risk. In addition, policy advice and proposals were developed to guide me and the Cabinet on the remuneration of boards and committees, including a pilot implementation. To date, under this pilot, there have been a total of 14 public bodies which have had applications successfully reviewed and considered. I know the Deputy Leader of the Opposition had talked about the anti-gang strategy, Mr. Speaker, and I just want to just speak a bit about this. As we end 2023, the ODG has significantly advanced the work to update the anti-gang strategy, originally due to be launched in 2020, when COVID struck. During and following this crisis, the SRIU has been on a long-term reassignment to facilitate the border reopening strategy and drawing upon lessons from the pandemic to support the Ministry of Health assess various public health delivery models. The original anti-gang strategy proposed a holistic 10-year strategy with the first phase to be delivered over the first 3 years, focusing on coordinated policy initiatives across various ministries. Despite the challenges posed by COVID-19, this ongoing work has resulted in 12 of the 19 projects were significantly advanced, including projects to enhance early identification of at-risk youth or at-risk students, enhance and expand the safety skill programs offered in schools, and enhance the community policing efforts to include intelligence gathering and resettlement support, to name a few. As much time has passed since the strategy was first developed, efforts have been undertaken during 2023 to review the anti-gang strategy, Mr. Speaker, with the intention of ensuring that the strategy remains fit for purpose within our current context. The review is an ongoing effort and is being carried out by the team in the SRU with the Office of the Deputy Governor in participation with other key stakeholders. So I do want to assure the Deputy Leader of the Opposition that the government takes this strategy very seriously. They have given me funding to advance the strategy, and the work is ongoing. So, Deputy Leader, you can take that one off as being well advanced. The ODG has continued to provide significant levels of project management and business case development support to government entities managing key projects for initiatives of national importance, such as support to the Minister of Health and Wellness in the development of a business case to enhance the national public health services, and the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health and Wellness very keen on this project, and it was a pleasure to work with her and her team. She mentioned this in her speech. The work of the SRU Professional Certification Program continued to build civil service capabilities in relation to the development of robust business cases and the delivery of successful priority programs and projects. Of significance, this program resulted in 109 civil servants achieving a total of 122 foundation-level qualification in project management, fundamentals, agile project management, change management, and better business cases. 61 civil servants achieved a total of 64 advanced practitioner-level qualifications in project management, agile project management, change management, and better business cases. And 75 civil servants attended the strategic master classes covering various disciplines. Mr. Speaker, why is this important? There have been successive Auditor General reports that said that civil servants were not doing well in these areas of developing business cases or change management. Abilities was not where it needed to be. What we are doing right now is addressing that concern, and we've actually taken it to another level so that the civil servants who are involved in the development of business cases are highly trained. It means that our projects have a much better chance of success if we do get the business case right. It's almost like trying to build a house without house plans. You're not going to get very far. During the past 2 years, the ODG supported the CIA Independent Monitoring Board, which expanded their services to include the monitoring of the Customs and Border Control detention facilities. Policies and procedures specific to the monitoring of detention facilities were developed, and all board members were trained in this area. And Mr. Speaker, it's so very important that this independent monitoring board, the work that they do is very important as they go into our places of detention and make sure that the persons there are being treated fairly, listen to any concerns they have, make sure that the facilities are fit for purpose. I want to thank that board for all the work that they do. It's a difficult job, but they do it very well. Mr. Speaker, I take great pride in the work of the Child Safeguarding Board that I currently chair. The board consists of chief officers and other senior leaders that have portfolios with child safeguarding responsibilities and is supported by the government. The board represents our cohesive efforts to prioritize those in our society who may be most vulnerable, our children. It represents a collaborative effort to prioritize the safety of our young people, our future. Our vision is to develop a world-class civil service that helps to create communities where children are free from violence, exploitation, abuse, neglect, and harmful practices. This is in line with international best practice and is guided by the Convention on the Rights of the Child and supports the civil service mission to work with the elected government to uphold the highest standards of governance and to deliver essential services and programs that serve the needs of the Cayman Islands community. In the Cayman Islands, we believe that every child has a right to grow up in a safe environment protected from abuse. However, we recognize that child safeguarding concerns arise in our community as it does in every part of the world. Therefore, child safeguarding is an absolutely priority for the government. Mr. Speaker, child safeguarding calls upon every sector of society, not just the government, to work together. Within the government, ministers have championed this important work by prioritizing and funding the same. And again, I thank all our ministers who take this issue so seriously and provide the necessary funding to numerous ministries so that we can tackle this problem, hopefully prevent a lot of the abuse that happens. Mr. Speaker, I would like to highlight some of our collaborative efforts to safeguard the children of our islands. With this targeted approach, the board is able to coordinate and bolster the range of child safeguarding strategies, policies, and initiatives that spread across government ministries, departments, agencies, and statutory authorities. Mr. Speaker, this is an excellent example of breaking down silos. Numerous ministries across CIG are all working together with a common purpose of safeguarding our children. The Minister of Education is one of the leaders. They prioritize child safeguarding in their policy and operational frameworks. These include, but are not limited to, the National Special Education Needs Policy, the National Child Protection Policies and Volunteer Policies. The Ministry of Education also implemented the Free School Meals Program for students in government schools, ensuring that every child has access to a healthy meal when in school. Mr. Speaker, sometimes people complain about this, but ma'am, this is safeguarding our children. Going to school hungry, you can't learn when you're hungry. You misbehave when you're hungry. So, these things that people think are not a big deal is a really big deal for our children. Those persons who think it's not a big deal may not have ever been hungry in their life. Minister of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development to carry out legislative reform for the Adoption of Children Act. Minister of Home Affairs, in collaboration with partner agencies, to strengthen the services for young persons in prison through a series of multi-agency strategic discussions and workshops. Through this work, we are helping to ensure that any young person who ends up in the prison system has wraparound support from government agencies. The National Youth Commission, which monitors the implementation of the National Youth Policy and advocates for youth issues in legislation. The Health Services Authority, which has initiated a project to provide parents with techniques relating to talking to kids about staying safe. The National Council of Volunteer Organizations, which provides families with positive parenting strategies in order to minimize the incidence of child abuse and neglect in the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, the list of partners and related initiatives is long, but these are just a few to highlight the cross-cutting and impactful nature of the work that has been delivered to date with respect to child safeguarding. In terms of enforcement and support, we have the Multi-Agency Support Hub, which operates as the primary child safeguarding focal point with strategic and operational responsibility for all child welfare matters in the Cayman Islands. It is a framework for interagency cooperation through the co-location of agency partners in the same workspace, acting as a catalyst for greater information sharing and collaboration. The partnership includes RCIPS, the Department of Children and Family Services, the Health Services Authority, Department of Education Services, and other government and non-government agencies. While much has been done through the collaborative efforts of multiple government agencies and private entities to help prevent child abuse, to protect our children, and to support them and their families, we recognize there's still more to be done to raise awareness and to eliminate child abuse in the Cayman Islands. To this end, Mr. Speaker, in 2024, the board will be launching a child safeguarding strategic plan that reinforces our coordination of the strategic priorities set by the Honorable Premier and government ministers. Mr. Speaker, the strategy will outline a way forward to enhance child safeguarding work in the Cayman Islands and provide a pathway to these improvements. The strategy will call upon every sector of society, in addition to government, to work together and invest together to prevent abuse against children. Mr. Speaker, in addition to launch of the Child Safeguarding Strategy Plan, other key priorities for my office in 2024-2025 are to develop government-wide guidance on project cost management to support CIG leaders in seeking to position government projects to deliver best value for money, a project to establish the SRU as a center of excellence for project management and business case writing, further development of the SRU professional certification program to offer hands-on experimental workshops for civil servants to apply skills and knowledge gained during the certification courses to new and ongoing projects. A project to support the revision and drafting of an updated Public Health Act and a standalone Environmental Health Act, which I know is going to make the Minister of Health a happy minister, which is our job. Establish of 2 new ODG units of strategic importance. These are coming before our caucus in January, in terms of a new enterprise risk management unit to provide coordinated leadership advice and support services to promote more effective risk management with both core government and, where appropriate, across the wider public service, including SAGCs, and a new national security vetting unit to provide security checks and develop vetting clearances together with continuous monitoring for roles within core government, uniformed services, and SAGCs, which may involve in the handling of sensitive information. Too often we hear of things being leaked out of the government administration building, and this is one of our efforts to reduce that, to hold people more accountable. Mr. Speaker, I just want to touch on another area of my office. And I want to get a bit serious about it, Mr. Speaker, because it is something that is right. It's a major problem in our country. And I know that the government shares my concerns. The minister with responsibility for employment and labor and work is well aware of this and is taking charge in the area, but I just want to highlight, and that is, Mr. Speaker, is my office deals with naturalization. This is where someone who is free from an immigration time restriction can apply to become a British Overseas Territorial citizen, and they will get a passport, a Cayman Islands passport. Being free from an immigration time restriction means you either have Cayman status or you have permanent residence. Mr. Speaker, you can get permanent residence through residence or through marriage, through independent means. Mr. Speaker, this year we have received 930 applications for naturalization. We have 470 of those were by residents, 201 by registration, which normally means it's a child who was born here, and 259 by marriage. And it's marriage that I want to just speak about, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, my office does a cursory marriage check before we make decisions on these applications. We simply call both the spouses at the same time and ask them a series of questions, the same questions. If we have reason to believe that they are not, the marriage is not intact or the marriage is broken down, we then refer the matter to work for a complete investigation. Mr. Speaker, it's getting worse in terms of what we're seeing with the marriages of convenience. We have a case that we're looking at, actually a couple of months ago, where we called a Caymanian man who could not tell us the name of his wife. Speaker, how did we get here? Why would you do this? This person that you have married is, unless we catch everyone, which is very unlikely, it means that these persons are going to have our passport. They are going to represent us at home and abroad. They have the reputation of our islands in their hands. So, Mr. Speaker, this is something that we need to look at because, and Mr. Speaker, let me just say this, and I'm sure I'll get some criticism for saying this, but I'm going to say it now. Nobody voted for me. Caymanians complain that people come here and take things from us. That's not the case with this. We're giving it away. We're selling it. We find cases where people say, I felt sorry for this person, so I married them. Really? Mr. Speaker, that can't be it. Do we understand what we're doing? Ask the RCIPS right now. Some of our most dangerous criminals are people that are married to Caymanians. How did this happen? Who are we going to blame for this? We have to blame ourselves. We have to blame ourselves. The Cayman people need to step up and say, my birthright is precious. I am not going to sell it to no one. I'm not going to give it to no one. I'm going to safeguard my country's reputation. Because, Mr. Speaker, the government shouldn't have to legislate for this. We shouldn't have to change laws for this. This is something that is completely in the power of our people. We as a community need to stop this. Stop marrying people that you do not love, that you have no intention of being with. Stop feeling sorry for other people and feel sorry for your people. Mr. Speaker, like I said, the Minister of Border Control shouldn't have to bring legislation to fix this. Because if he does, he's going to make it a bit harder for those who are in genuine relationships. But what are we supposed to do, Mr. Speaker? Yes, and that's the plan too. The premiers, I won't say no more. Yeah, perhaps we should arrest some of the marriage officers. Yes, I agree with that. Mr. Speaker, to be serious, I'm raising this issue because we are putting the island's reputation at risk. Mr. Speaker, I naturalize these persons. In other words, I swear them in as citizens. That's one of my jobs. And I say to them, the Cayman Islands is not the special place that it is, simply because we have beautiful beaches and sunshine. It is our people that make us special. They have now become one of us. And we expect them to uphold our democratic values. We expect them to observe our laws. We expect them to uphold the high traditions of our people, which is why we have to be so careful when we say yes or when we say, I do. So, Mr. Speaker, yes. Mr. Speaker, I think I've said enough on this, but I think it is something that we all need to be aware of. And I'm saying to the public, this is something that is within the total control of our Caymanian people. If you are in a margin of convenience, go over to the court, file for divorce before we get you. Because the team at work, I went and visited their office. They got a stack of files like this, where they're also investigating. Again, some of our most dangerous criminals have decided the easy way for me to stay in Cayman is to get married. I forget if they have a child. Very, very difficult to remove. Mr. Speaker, I think I've said it, but it's very important for all of us in the Cayman Islands to stand together on this one and have a zero tolerance for this type of behavior. Mr. Speaker, I would now like to speak on the work carried on by the amazing team in POCS in 2022 and 2023 in the area of pay and rewards. Over the past 24 months, the POCS undertook significant work to help address the rising cost of living, to facilitate pay progression, and to gradually reduce the extent of overlap of salary grades. The specific payments made in 2022 were 3 honorariums paid in June, July, and August 2022, totaling $450 to offset higher electricity costs linked to sharp increases in fuel prices over the summer holidays. This honorarium was paid at a flat rate for employees on grade E and below, thereby offering greatest relative benefit to persons on the lower salary grades. A 2% cost of living adjustment, COLA, was paid in September 2022 and applicable to all employees, aimed at offsetting inflation and preserving relative purchasing power. And a 1 point within grade increment, valued at 2.5%, paid in December 2022 to employees on salary grades E and below who had not already achieved the highest pay point on their respective salary grades, and for the very small percentage of employees who were already at the top of their individual salary grade, an honorarium of $700 for 6 months value of the 2.5% increment, whichever was greater, was paid on a one-off lump sum. Again, Madam Speaker, we're doing what we can to take care of the team. Mr. Speaker, in late 2023, the government supported the payment of $1,500 to all eligible public servants, and this payment was processed in December payroll. With the Christmas season upon us, this is a welcome and timely payment for all our hardworking staff. And in 2023, work was delivered on behalf of the Portfolio of Legal Affairs and the Office of the DPP to propose ways CIG may begin to tackle long-standing pay issues for the legal profession within CIG. This work is still in discussion with hopes that it may be implemented in the near future. We want to make sure that we're doing our best for our attorneys and lawyers who are in CIG, and I know the AG very in support of doing something special for our lawyers so that we can retain some of the Caymanians that we have and also attract the best talent. Mr. Speaker, since 2017, the Civil Service has conducted the Employee Engagement Survey to measure staff engagement and to hear from our employees on various important topics. In 2022, Mr. Speaker, let me just pause. The Premier has given me permission to announce some more good news and hopefully add some additional Christmas cheer. So, Mr. Speaker, we spoke about our pensioners and the valuable work that they have done for us over the years. Persons who have worked for 10 years, who have 10 years or more of pensionable service in the civil service. We agreed to move them from the 950 to 12, and today the government agreed to give them a one-off payment of $250, Mr. Speaker. Again, that is most welcomed. It provides a bit of Christmas cheer, as I said, and again would like to thank the Premier and all ministers, all members of Cabinet, all the government for their support and for caring about the people of the Cayman Islands. Mr. Speaker, since 2017, the Civil Service has conducted the Employee Engagement Survey to measure staff engagement and to hear from our employees on various important topics. In 2022, POCS facilitated the delivery of the 6th annual survey, which yielded responses from 8 to 7%, or 3,707 civil servants. The engagement index, which is a measure of the average level of engagement across all civil services entities, increased 1% from 2021, rising to 73%. Mr. Speaker, when 87% of the civil service responds to a survey, that is a very good thing, and it means that we have a very, very good idea of what civil servants are thinking and how they are feeling. A score that is particularly keen to see every year is a score in response to the statement, "I feel proud to be a civil servant." In 2022, Mr. Speaker, I am proud to say that 89% of respondents said they felt proud to work in our civil service, which is a score that brings great joy to me. And I'm glad that so many employees share the same pride about working in the civil service as I do. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, imagine what that number would be if people gave them a little praise rather than constantly complaining about things that they probably never even done. You know, it's amazed me that with all of the negativity that goes on there about the civil service, we still got Caymanians wanting to come and join the civil service, and people are staying with us, and 8 to 9% say they are proud. And Mr. Speaker, you know what goes a long ways to being proud is when the government looks after them and shows them that they are appreciated. Mr. Speaker, when you feel proud to work for an organization, it will not fail. It will not fail. It means I have bought in to the vision of the civil service. I have bought in that my job is to deliver for the elected government. It means that when I come to work, I'm going to give the government 110% of my effort every day. I'm not going to call in sick unless I'm really, really sick. I'm going to come to work on time, and I'm going to work hard. Mr. Speaker, that's 8 to 9% of our civil servants. That's something to be really proud of, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the 2023 Employment Engagement Survey had just closed off at the end of November. However, preliminary data shows that the civil service has again in 2023 achieved similar results in terms of participation and engagement. These early indications of yet another survey reporting high levels of engagement leave me feeling that the civil service continues to do many things right to keep our staff engaged and motivated to deliver the government policy priorities. As I have done each year for the past 6 years, I will announce the results via town hall meeting in January 2024. Mr. Speaker, as it relates to innovation and efficiencies, in 2022, POCS began implementing of the CIG new human resource management system called MyVista. The first component of the project, the e-recruitment platform, www.careers.gov.ky, went live in February last year of 2022, modernizing CIG recruitment by introducing an online application process. The new platform created a seamless user experience by allowing the creation of a profile to store relevant information about the applicant and to provide 24-hour access to view vacancies and track application progress, among other benefits. For recruitment managers, the platform reduces manual processing and allows the CIG HR community to deliver a refined recruitment process to all job seekers. Mr. Speaker, the new platform form part of our ongoing efforts to improve the customer experience for job applicants, recruitment officers, and hiring managers. Mr. Speaker, as a true testament to the benefit and convenience of careers, gov.ky, 28,186 persons have registered through the portal to date, and hundreds of recruitment managers have successfully been facilitated across the civil service. That means, Mr. Speaker, that about 28,000 people said they want to come and work with us. In 2024, the new system will go live with payroll activities, and in doing so, will introduce greater flexibilities and efficiencies in government operations. One reform, which is coinciding with system changes, is reducing the number of bespoke payroll runs within the civil service. For an ever-decreasing number of persons paid on a biweekly basis, government currently operates 3 to 4 separate payroll runs each month. HR teams have been supporting transformation with their business areas, and the need for so many payrolls will all be but eradicated early in 2024. As the country's single largest employer, Mr. Speaker, CIG is shifting the way it supports talent management. During 2024 and 2025, we will adopt bespoke job families, streamline role descriptions, and further ease in the barriers to the movement of talent within the civil service by providing professional roadmaps. Armed with this information, civil servants will be in the driver's seat and will be able to better navigate their future careers, whether they seek upward promotion or lateral growth into new areas of civil service delivery. Succession planning is also getting an overhaul in 2024, and I know members of this House would be happy to hear that as one of the areas people have been talking about for quite some time. Some of the greatest inhibitors to succession planning are being tackled in CIG's new policy. Also, while the policy retains healthy competition for those who are successful in being added to a succession pool, they will have a distinct advantage both before and after a role is declared vacant and is ready to be filled. Mr. Speaker, the Civil Services offers a second chances program for persons who have been rehabilitated after serving a custodial sentence. To date, Mr. Speaker, a total of 14 Caymanians have benefited from this program, including 11 who came into the program and are now full-time employees. Mr. Speaker, this is part of the civil service trying to be part of the solution. Mr. Speaker, this is 14 persons who were unable to get a job. They were unable to become a productive member of our community. Mr. Speaker, some of those persons had been out of work for years, Mr. Speaker, years. They are now working with us, doing great jobs. They come to work every day, and they just simply do their job. What it means, Mr. Speaker, is that we need more companies in Cayman to step up and to do this. Otherwise, the concerns raised by the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, the concern raised by other members in the community, in this House, about crime, it doesn't get reduced. If when you come out of prison, you can't get a job, what are you going to do? You'll become a recidivist. What we're doing, Mr. Speaker, it's 14 persons. I hope to be able to do that again this year, but it's persons who want a chance, who deserve a chance. And we're going to try to do that to as many of our people as possible without being a risk to our services. Mr. Speaker, another program that I am very, very proud of is our Emerging Talent Program, which aims to assist Caymanians who have recently graduated in obtaining, who have recently graduated and need experience. Mr. Speaker, we have this issue where our young people get out of university, they have these amazing degrees, they're very talented, but they have no experience. They apply to the job in the civil service, and they say, we love you, you're absolutely fantastic, but we need somebody with some experience. What this program does, Mr. Speaker, is the government has given POCS funding where we can say, and I can use the Department of Agriculture as an example, where we had a lady graduate as a vet. She applied for a job there. Of course, they needed experience. So we were able to fund this lady's employment for 2 years or 3 years until she got the experience, and now she will take over from the vet who's there, whose contract will be up shortly. That is the kind of innovation that we need for our people. And I am pleased to say that over the last 2 years, I believe it is, we have had 8 Caymanians come through that program. And they're all doing really well. And Mr. Speaker, it's so ironic that in both of these programs, we've had almost 100% success. There's been one person in our Second Chances program that didn't work out, one. But in everything else, everyone has worked and done what they said that they were going to do. In other words, it's the old adage, Mr. Speaker, our people just need an opportunity. We give them an opportunity and they will shine. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to highlight the great work that was completed in 2022-2023 by the Office of Education Standards. I know the Premier mentioned some of this in her speech, I believe, but I just want to highlight it. Mr. Speaker, just to give a bit of background, the Office of Education Standards was placed under my office so that there would be a complete separation from this office and the Minister of Education so that they will be able to work independently, and I think we will all agree that that has worked very well. The two agencies have great relationships, but one is the auditor and one is the auditee, so we want to make sure that there was separation. Mr. Speaker, in early 2023, the OES conducted 8 inspections of early years centers and schools. More recently, in October and November, the OES completed 15 full inspections and 2 follow-through inspections at primary and secondary schools across the island. The results of the 25 inspections showed improvements in the overall judgments at 20% of inspected schools, including 2 previous weak schools moving to satisfactory judgments. There was 2 schools in the private sector that were weak, and they now moved and joined us in the civil service as satisfactory. These government schools retained their judgment. 3 government schools retained their judgments of good, although the inspectors noted improvements in various aspects of their overall educational provision. This is good, Mr. Speaker, Congratulations to the Premier for all the work she has been doing to enhance our education. A significant achievement in the OES in 2023 was the development of a bespoke Cayman Islands early childhood inspection framework, aptly named First Steps to Success, Nurturing Environments and Thriving Children. This inspection framework delineates seven performance standards and a number of quality indicators that mirrors the values, skills, dispositions, knowledge, and practices essential for fostering high-quality early childhood care and education. The framework provides exemplars of sector-leading standards to promote high-quality experience and outcomes for children. The framework is also designed to assist owners, leaders, and staff of early childhood facilities in assessing their practices and provisions to ensure quality and facilitate continuous improvement to improve outcomes for children 0 to 5 years in the Cayman Islands. A significant milestone was achieved through cross-sectorial support involving the Ministry of Education, Department of Education Services, the Cayman Islands Early Childhood Association, and a core working group. This new inspection framework will be utilized for early years inspections beginning in January 2024. In 2024-2025, the OES plans to deploy a risk-based approach to inspections. A risk-based approach to school inspection is a method of evaluating and assessing educational institutions by prioritizing resources and attention on those schools that are deemed to have a higher level of risk in terms of educational quality, compliance and regulations, and overall performance. Overall, a risk-based school inspection model aims to improve the quality and effectiveness of education by focusing on schools that need the most support and intervention. It balances accountability with support, leading to better outcomes for students and the education system as a whole. This model will also realize significant cost savings for the department as schools judged securely good or excellent will be moved off the 2-year inspection cycle and will instead benefit from an annual desk review to ensure standards are maintained. Also in 2024, the OES intends to strengthen and expand the Cayman Islands Associate Inspector Program by introducing a tiered approach to entering and advancing through the training program. In the first instance, through the knowledge-built pathways, interested persons will be able to develop their understanding of inspections and apply their learning within their own school. Through the second tier, namely the Certified Cayman Associate Inspector Pathway, participants will be able to express interest in assuming responsibility as a full-team inspector once they become qualified. Mr. Speaker, I'm almost finished, but let me just talk a bit about the successes of our internal audit service. The internal audit developed a new internal audit methodology and a way of working to align more closely with the UK government's internal audit agency and best practices. In addition, the internal audit team delivered a comprehensive assurance plan and year-end report and opinion, providing assurance on payroll and healthcare costs, as well as tourism and border revenues. The IAS also undertook restructuring activities, which resulted in the reorganization of the IAS team to improve its efficiencies and to place greater emphasis on the delivery of quality audits. The IAS team also strongly supported Caymanians, which now make up 75% of the internal audit team, in their pursuit of professional internal audit qualifications by sponsoring applicable courses of study and allowing time off for preparation and to sit exams. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased to report that this support strategy has resulted in a 100% exam success rate to date, which is growing the pool of qualified Caymanians in the internal audit profession. In 2024 and 2025, the internal audit team will continue to work to enhance the overall control environment within CIG This will be done by continuing to drive the IAS work plan towards areas of greater risk, and then focusing more on strategic reviews on the same. The IAS will enhance its use of data analysts to direct its work and aid testing, which will facilitate broader coverage of audit testing and allow for increased assurance. Additionally, IAS aims to provide regular insights, reports to me and my leadership team, including proactive action, tracking details, and sharing of good practice, all with the aim of breaking down silos. Mr. Speaker, we know the importance of the National Archives, which falls under my office, and the work that they do to preserve Cayman historical and vital records. In 2022 and 2023, the National Archives continue to utilize digital technology to support their promotion of and access to historical collections, and to educate and promote a greater awareness of Cayman's history, heritage, and culture within the community. As a regulator agency for records and information management in the public sector, the National Archives continue to support and provide advice to government agencies on the efficient management of their information assets to ensure compliance with the National Archive and Public Records Act, and to facilitate good governance, transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Mr. Speaker, in 2022 and 2023, the Archives saw a steadily increased demand for archival referral services, with just over 1,000 local and overseas research interactions. The Archives also embarked on dedicated and strengthened promotion of its historical collections via 8 interactive community and educational presentations to various schools and community groups, and an 80 social media posts. The Archives created and led a 7-session participative workshop to assist 8 public agencies with the development of operational disposal schedules. Over the next 2 years, the Archives plans to work to support strategic broad outcome 4 to modernize government to improve public sector performance by strengthening record and information management practices across the civil service through proactive issuance of streamlined guidance, documents, and more interactive measures. Under strategic broad outcome 5, protect and promote Caymanian culture, heritage, and identity. The Archive will continue to promote, provide, and make the historical collections more accessible with innovation outreach programs facilitated via social media streams and the development of outreach packets for teachers. Mr. Speaker, winding down, the work of the Commission Secretariat continues to support our constitutional commissions in the Cayman Islands by providing strategic, operational, administrative, public relations, public education, recruitment, research, policy, and investigative support. We also have the Judicial and Legal Service Commission to ensure the effective recruitment of two key positions, such as Chief Justice, 2 judges of the Court of Appeal, and 2 judges of the Grand Court. To assist with our country's response to the Financial Action Task Force, the investigative team provided evidence on behalf of the Anti-Corruption Commission to demonstrate the jurisdiction investigations and prosecutions of money laundering, all of which contributed to the Cayman Islands being removed from the FATF gray list. With respect to educating the public in terms of the Constitution, educational materials were developed and shared with learning institutions to increase the awareness and knowledge of the younger generation about the Cayman Islands Constitution. In 2024, the commissions will focus on advancing 2 broad outcomes: enhancing competitiveness while meeting international standards. They will be focusing on providing professional and uninterrupted support to 6 commissions so that they can effectively deliver on their respective mandates. They're going to fill all of the vacancies that they have there in terms of the staff, and developing and rolling out key public relations education initiatives to support the mandate of the commissions. This will include, on behalf of the Human Rights Commission, revising and reintroducing Bill of Rights training, and introducing corruption training, and introducing anti-corruption training to key departments as a proactive measure to prevent incidents of corrupt practices. Mr. Speaker, to wind down, let me just speak a bit about our Civil Service College, because they do some outstanding work for us. Our role is we want to give every civil servant an opportunity to advance in the civil service and to improve their education. And we do a lot of this work through our Civil Service College. In the area of formal education, to support effectiveness and career progression, during the 2022-2023 budget cycle, the Civil Service College revamped and upgraded the informal communication skills offered to internationally accredited programs, namely the Foundation Business Communication. Effective business communication continues to be one of the critical areas of success in the workforce. By focusing on this area, the civil service is assisting civil servants to improve their effectiveness and efficiency in the workplace. Mr. Speaker, the Civil Service College also drafted the critically important scholarship framework to implement a structured approach to scholarship offerings for Caymanians who remain in full-time employment while pursuing further qualifications as part of succession planning or other career pathways within the civil service. In the area of building core competencies to equip the civil service for success, the Civil Service College continued to embed a culture of lifelong learning through access to on-demand training via LinkedIn Learning platforms and a comprehensive program to encourage its use and upskill our civil servants. Initiatives including monthly learning topics on the hub, quarterly learning challenges competitions, and our first ever Learning at Work Week. Mr. Speaker, as a result of these efforts, and I want to highlight this, Mr. Speaker, over 14,000 courses were completed on LinkedIn Learning by civil servants over the 2-year period. Mr. Speaker, that means that our civil servants were able to sit at their desks and take courses via LinkedIn. They didn't have to leave their desk, they didn't have to go in a classroom. And that, Mr. Speaker, has been a game changer for many in the civil service, because some of them cannot afford to be away from their desks, or they can't afford to work in the evenings because they have child minding responsibilities. But now they could do this at home without having to leave their workplace or their home. So we're doing everything we can to upskill our civil servants. In the area of leadership development, during 2022-2023 budget cycle, over 300 civil servants achieved internationally recognized accreditation in leadership and management, which represents a significant increase from 185 in the previous budget cycle. One of the drivers of the success of our leadership and management initiatives has been the Associate Facilitator Program. Through this program, committed, qualified, and certified civil servants support the development of their fellow civil servants through program facilitation. Now, Mr. Speaker, as the civil service turns its attention to the 2 years ahead, they have plans to continue looking at ways to meet increased demand for leadership and management upskilling, as well as program optimization. In addition to the traditional ILM offerings, the Civil Service College will be piloting a comprehensive coaching for leaders program, targeting at building our leadership team abilities to support and guide their teams. Also, during this next budget cycle, the Civil Service College will implement and update Civil Service College sponsorship program to support Caymanian civil servants who have the potential to contribute at higher levels in the organization, but who are currently limited because they lack the necessary qualifications. Learning pathways will be created with our adult part-time learners in mind and will allow access to university qualifications from the certificate level to the master's level. This program will build capabilities, support career development, and enhance our ability to make a positive impact in our community. Lastly, but certainly not least, the Civil Service College will continue to embed the core vehicle of access to core competency training, namely LinkedIn Learning, while investing in a learning management system solution for bespoke civil service training that is critical for the civil service to minimize organizational risk and achieve our ambitious goals. Mr. Speaker, as you and the members of the Honorable House are aware, 2025 is an election year, and as such, the Elections Office will begin vital preparations in 2024, namely the carrying out of voter registration drives and review and update the voters list. Additionally, the first quarter of 2024, the Elections Office aims to bring amendments to the Election Act. In the first quarter of 2025, the Election Office will undertake the voter registration process in preparation for delivery of fair and transparent general elections in April 2025. Before closing, Mr. Speaker, I would like to highlight the work undertaken by POCS and our Wellness Committee to support our greatest asset in the civil service, our people. Taking care of our people continues to deliver many benefits to the organization. This includes improved health and well-being, greater productivity, higher performance, increased job satisfaction, and organizational resilience. In 2022, the Wellness Committee played a crucial role in promoting holistic well-being for civil servants and their families. Their comprehensive approach covered physical, nutritional, and financial aspects of well-being. Various events were organized for civil servants, including 40 virtual wellness sessions, weekly government administration walk-around club, yin yoga classes, Earth Day activities, and senior health and retirement workshops. Key highlights of the work in the Wellness Committee, including heart health sessions, psychological and mental health workshops, financial wellness programs, and the first ever staff health fair. Overall, the Wellness Committee efforts have positively impacted the lives of civil servants, fostering a culture of well-being and appreciation in the workplace, and aiding the mental and physical health of our employees so that they can give their best every day. And I want to sincerely thank all the members of our Wellness Committee for their outstanding work. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Premier for her leadership and partnership with the civil service, and I extend my thanks to honorable ministers who work closely with their chief officers to deliver critical services and initiatives to meet the current and future needs of the Cayman Islands. Sincere thanks to all of my chief officers for their support and advice, especially Chief Officer Gloria McField-Nixon, who works very closely with me. We speak every day, and she works very hard to make all of the people's lives better in our civil service. And I thank her and her incredible team. Mr. Speaker, I stand committed with all the civil service to support the work of the elected government as we continue to improve our organization and make the lives of those we serve better. I want to thank the team in my office, Ms. Rodriguez, Jody, my PA Tanisha, and the rest of my amazing team for the work that they do, who makes my life better. I want to thank our Attorney General. We all owe him a debt of a great thanks for his sage advice. I can tell anyone, you talk to the AG, he gives you advice, just take it. He has saved us all on many occasions. The work that he and the Deputy Premier did to get us off of the grey list is an outstanding achievement. So thank you, AG, for all that you do. Mr. Speaker, allow me to close with my favorite quote about public service. My creed is that public service must be more than doing a job efficiently and honestly. It must be a complete dedication to the people and to the nation with full recognition that every human being is entitled to courtesy and consideration. That constructive criticism is not only to be expected but sought. That smears are not only to be expected but fought. That honor is to be earned, not bought. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. And it's that time of the year, Mr. Speaker, so I want to wish all of you Merry Christmas. To everyone in the civil service. I send a special message to all of you, but I do want to wish all of my civil servants happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we are going to achieve some really great things in the new year. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Governor. We will now take the evening break. We will resume at 7:15.